Chapter 666. Su Yen had been to the mysterious space hidden within the 49 giant pillars in the past. However, when he came to this mysterious space again, he saw a different scenery now. That is a space seal, and it is very powerful. Baokai shook its black and white fur, raised its big round head, and pricked up its ears to look at the sky. The space looked small, but with Su Yan's current cultivation, he realized that it was a space of a world within a world, just like what he experienced in Purple Sun Dojo. A world within a world, the broken cauldron flew out from the mysterious world within a world. Su Yan's face was serious. He tried to break the space, but he realized that the space boundary was too strong and indestructible. With his current strength, he could not move it at all. He felt that even if the Divine King came, he would not be able to open this mysterious space. This space is very strong, and we can't open it at all. Baokai gritted its teeth and said, "The only way to open this space is..." Su Yen thought of the broken cauldron first. The broken cauldron flew down from above, and the world within a world must be Baocai's hometown. If Su Yen did not lure the broken cauldron out, Baokai would not have left the world within a world. 1. Su Yen took out the broken cauldron, and under his control, the broken cauldron glowed. The blurry pictures on the cauldron wall seemed to come alive, and there were all kinds of birds, fish, and insects. The ancient ancestors glowed, and they seemed to walk out of the cauldron wall. The inside of the broken cauldron was as deep as a bottomless abyss. When the cauldron glowed, the entire space was filled with divine light, and the broken cauldron was like the key to the world within a world. A space-time whirlpool appeared in the space, and Su Yen and Baokai took the opportunity to rush in. Boom! Just as they entered, Su Yen unleashed all his power, and even used the silver force armor, because he felt danger. In the world that Su Yen and the others had rushed into, all kinds of death auras were emitted. They assaulted him in the face, causing his skin and bones to turn cold. He couldn't help but shiver. The aura inside was truly too fierce. "Don't worry, we have the cauldron protecting us. Nothing will happen," Baokai said calmly. It was lying dormant on the ground. Its panda eyes were wide open as it scanned the surroundings. It said, "There are no other life forms here. Of course, without a broken cauldron, it is impossible to enter. Maybe a powerful being can open this world within a world." The whole world was dark, and the atmosphere was oppressive and cold. The aura of death was quite strong. Even though Su Yan's body was like the furnace of the universe, it was still very difficult for him to illuminate the space. He felt that this universe was too vast and magnificent. It was as if an entire universe was lying here. Vast and boundless, magnificent and vast. What kind of world is this? Why is it so big? It was created by a powerful being. Su Yen opened his martial Dao heavenly eye and looked around. His heart became more and more shocked. First of all, this world did not have the laws of Earth. This meant that it was an independent spacetime. Could it be that this world within a world was created by a supreme being? According to my estimation, this is a universe. A powerful being would not be able to create such a vast world. Baocai's words made Su Yan's heart surge with tempestuous waves. They had discovered a universe. These words were too heavy. Even if it was a small universe, its value was immeasurable. Even a powerful being would fight for it crazily. First of all, a powerful being could create a universe. However, the power of a powerful being was also limited. It was even impossible to create a powerful universe, or a group of people, generation after generation, through continuous efforts, perfected this universe. Even so, the amount of resources consumed was immeasurable. What troubled the peak powerhouses was that they didn't have enough resources. How could a universe give birth to life? This was a difficult question. A powerful being would not be able to answer it even if he talked for 3 days and 3 nights. A universe. We have discovered a universe. Su Yen took a deep breath. He tried to calm down and looked around. The world was as dark as ink. The aura of death pervaded the air. There were no auspicious signs. The entire world did not have any aura of life. It was too quiet. It was so quiet that it made them feel depressed. Let's go and take a look. Baokai rushed in impatiently. They had barged into a mysterious universe just like that. The world was vast. With their speed, they could travel thousands of miles. However, Su Yen and Baokai continued to dash. They did not see any light. There was only darkness, coldness, and the aura of death everywhere. Look at those stars in the universe. They have all collapsed and turned into fragments. They are floating in space. Su Yen was even more shocked. He saw many broken stars floating in space and time. However, they were always in a state of silence. They continued to dash for a while. Su Yen felt a chill down his spine because he saw the universe in front of him. It was a large area of collapsed space. There were large cracks in the universe everywhere. They were pervaded with destructive energy that could easily tear apart a person's precious body. The further they went, the more dangerous the dark universe became. There were many areas of destruction. Even the mountains in the universe had collapsed. They had been sucked dry of essence and were in ruins. Spiritual medicine field. Su Yan's eyes lit up. He quickly flew over and found a spiritual medicine field. To be precise, this spiritual medicine field covered an area of more than 100,000 miles. How big was this spiritual medicine field? Even the Dan domain of the top 10 peak races did not have such a vast spiritual medicine field. However, the divine trees here were withered and the spiritual medicines were pitch black. Even the fertile soil had lost all of its essence. If a gust of wind blew, this place might really turn into ashes. Su Yan's expression was grave. He stared at the core of the spiritual medicine field. He found that some of the spiritual medicines were still green, but unfortunately, their essence had completely dissipated. There was no value left. I suspect that this is a divine medicine. Baokai sighed. What a pity. These rare treasures have all been destroyed. The divine power has been completely devoured. Nothing is left. This is a dead universe. Su Yen was speechless. The starry sky is forever silent. All the treasures have turned into scorched earth. Not even a blade of grass can grow. If this news were to spread, who knew how big of an earthquake it would cause, because it was too bizarre. A universe had died, and it was even damaged. The treasures inside had turned into nothingness, and it was even here on Earth. Do you know how the universe died? Su Yen was very curious. Baokai shook its head. It did not know when this universe died, but Baokai found it very difficult to survive. There were no traces of life here, nor were there any drinkable ingredients. The reason we can survive is because of the broken cauldron, Baokai said. This universe is like a dark prison that devours any life. The reason we are fine is because of the broken cauldron. Su Yen was surprised. They were always together, and the broken cauldron was hanging above their heads. When they came in, Baokai warned Su Yen not to leave the broken cauldron. Otherwise, he would encounter an unknown fear. Give it a try? Su Yen was very curious. He wanted to know if this dead universe still had the ability to devour life after Baokai left more than 20 years ago. You can try. I don't want to try anymore. Curiosity can scare people to death. Baokai shivered. It took the broken cauldron away, but it did not dare to go too far. It was really worried that it would encounter the nightmare from before. As the broken cauldron gradually left Su Yan's heart gradually rose with a wisp of fear. He felt like he was floating on a dark ocean. Now, he had lost his last life-saving straw. He did not know if it was his own soul that was acting like a ghost or because of the environment of this world. It was as if any life would encounter the reincarnation of death here. When the broken cauldron was 10 feet away from Su Yen, he found that the world had changed. This broken universe was like a burning flame. The billowing black haze instantly filled the sky, suppressed the world, and covered all life. Fear arose spontaneously. The whole world was full of destruction and ominous, full of insidiousness and coldness. In the dark world, the broken stars drifted. Hundreds of millions of them shook, rumbled, and began to dance uncontrollably. It was as if they were shaken by invisible tentacles that stretched out from the darkness. It was as if the hands of thousands of gods and demons stretched out towards Su Yen, wanting to tear him into pieces. Ah! Su Yen almost went crazy. That was a purgatory that made people despair. It suppressed his mind to the point that it was about to collapse. He even felt that the essence in his body was flowing backward uncontrollably, as if it was being completely devoured by the black haze that filled the sky. Devil fog, this is devil fog. Earth has devil fog. Su Yan's eyes flashed with a trace of fear. This was devil fog. The black haze was like a devil descending to the world. This was the horror of devil fog. It could even devour a universe without leaving any essence chi. Even the divine king would have to suffer if he came. Bang! Baokai rushed over like lightning and struck out with the broken cauldron to suppress Su Yen. The broken cauldron glowed like an immortal cauldron. It was especially frightening as it gushed out with a clear splendor. It dispersed the black haze that filled the sky and covered Baokai and Su Yen. The world returned to tranquility at lightning speed. Su Yen gasped for breath. His whole body was drenched in cold sweat. Just now, he felt as if he had stepped half a foot into hell and was about to be captured by a malicious spirit. He was enduring the trial of despair and fear. Baokai still had lingering fears. Back then, it had endured such pain and suffering. If it wasn't for the broken cauldron, it would have died. Su Yen gasped for breath. He really wanted to know how Baokai had survived. After all, there was no essence chi here. Even the strongest person couldn't hold on any longer. They would gradually lose all their essence chi and enter a state of death. Moreover, why did the devil fog appear here? Who left behind this broken universe? This caused Su Yan's imagination to run wild. Earth was indeed hiding many secrets, waiting for him to decipher them. It's all because of a lake that I can survive, Baokai urged. I don't know if the lake is still here. In short, that lake is extremely astonishing. It's filled with a terrifying power that can resist death. If it wasn't for this lake, I wouldn't have been able to survive. I feel that the lake's power is enough to make even the Almighty go crazy. Su Yen was shocked. Even the Almighty would go crazy. Was this lake some kind of supreme treasure? Let's go. Chapter 667. The broken universe was supposed to be a land of treasures. One had to know that if a broken universe was discovered in the chaos ruins, a great opportunity was destined to come. In the process, various races would fight for the ownership of the broken universe, but it was extremely difficult for a force to swallow it all in one go. Basically, some strong races joined forces to control the secret realms and divide the resources of the broken universe. Even if the various treasures in the broken universe were rare, it was still an astronomical figure. After all, the universe was suddenly broken, but the strongest essence was left behind. After years of precipitation, it slowly became a treasure that made people's eyes red with envy. There were chaos treasure embryos, heaven and earth spiritual roots, supreme treasures and divine medicines, limited resources, all kinds of rare universe treasures, and even immortal treasures left behind from prehistoric times, but there were too many places to excavate, and supreme treasures could be found. Those were things that could be used to forge mighty people's holy weapons. How could the mighty people not be jealous? Damn, I've lost a lot. Su Yen and Baokai wandered in the broken universe. They broke through withered pure lands, empty mineral veins, and dangerous areas of fallen stars. They tried to dig out some good things, but without exception they all failed. Even the dragon totem didn't show the slightest fluctuation. It was obvious that this was a truly dead universe. I can't even see a universe crystal. There's not even a hair left. Bao Kai cursed. It had originally thought that there would be some good stuff left behind, but in the end there was nothing. That cosmic crystal was an item unique to the incomplete universe. It nurtured the power of the universe and contained supreme nomological Tao techniques. The value of this thing was too terrifying. Gods would fight for it if they saw it. Even the chaos treasure material, which was slightly inferior to the universe crystal, contained rare minerals that could improve the human body and cleanse the body. But there was nothing here. Every broken universe represented endless wealth, but here the world was dead silent and gray. It was full of an oppressive aura that made their breathing heavy. Especially when they approached the direction of Bao-Cai's sprint, the atmosphere became heavier. Su Yan was on guard. After all, he hadn't been here for a long time. He didn't know if there were any changes. However, Su Yan found that the dragon totem emitted a very hot temperature, unprecedentedly hot. This shocked him. This meant that this was the most powerful treasure the dragon totem had discovered from the beginning until now, and it was right in front of him. At present, they were close to their destination. When they passed through the ruins, Su Yan saw a light screen in the darkness. It was like a sign of life. When they approached, the broken cauldron automatically roared, as if it could not withstand the ominous pressure from the heaven and earth. Su Yan had a premonition that if they left the broken cauldron, what awaited them would be very miserable. What's that? I can feel the aura of life. Su Yan was pleasantly surprised and moved. He had found traces of life in the dead universe. This was a miracle. Then, what kind of material could resist the energy that caused the universe to die? When they got close to Su Yan was shocked. He was dumbfounded. Buzz. Divine radiance surged in the world ahead. It was suffused with an extremely powerful aura of life, as if an immortal furnace was burning its life essence. It was a lake. To be precise, it was very small. The lake was originally huge, but under the suppression of death, it had gradually shrunk. But even though it had shrunk, the light emitted by the lake was exceptionally brilliant. The flowing aura of life was peerlessly terrifying. Su Yan had a feeling that there was a supreme being hibernating in front of him. It was as if a golden immortal furnace was burning. This made him particularly shocked. How strong was this life force to be able to resist until now? Even the universe had perished, but it was still here, emitting the source of power it should have. The Bao Kai fell into reminiscence. It was here that the will of the dead universe was born. It encountered unimaginable cruelty and torture, and in the end, it relied on the power of the lake to survive. Now it was still here. This aura of life was like the burning golden sea of reincarnation. It was resplendent and overflowing with the flames of life. I'm here again. The Bao Kai let out a low roar. It rushed up, laughing happily like a child, and jumped directly into the golden lake. Bang! The water splashed. This was the water of life. The Bao Kai swam happily in it and even swallowed the water in large mouthfuls. This seemed to be a kind of life water. In the process of absorbing, the Bao-Cai's aura suddenly blazed. What a terrifying life water! The universe is dead, but it's still alive. Su Yan took a deep breath. He also jumped into the lake, but just as he entered, Su Yan's body tingled with pain. He felt that there was a pressure from the long river of time and space in the lake, causing Su Yan's body to be on the verge of exploding. This kind of energy was very powerful. It wanted to destroy Su Yan's precious body. It was hard to imagine how it was born. You can't drink too much of the water here, or you'll explode and die. The Bao Kai warned Su Yan, this is the only life land in the dead universe. It can resist the corrosion of death. It's hard to imagine how powerful this life water is. Why do I feel that this life water is very difficult to refine? Su Yan frowned. He tried to refine the life water, but he found that it was extremely difficult for the human body to absorb it. It seemed that it couldn't accommodate this kind of substance. I don't think it's something that can be refined at our level. It's very difficult for our human body to bear such a high-level substance. The Baokai shook its fur. Although that was the case, the life force contained in this life water was too vigorous. During the process of bathing, each of them had a majestic life aura, imperceptibly perfecting their foundation. It's effective. Su Yan found that although the absorption speed of the human body was extremely slow, it was already showing the effect. He found that there was a heat flow surging in his body, causing his battle body to blaze and shine like a golden sun. Boom! Inexplicably, Su Yan's body emitted multicolored light. This kind of heat flow rapidly spread throughout his body, causing his human treasure to fully bloom. However, during the process, the human treasure emitted an even more vigorous aura. Numerous small holes imperceptibly opened up on Su Yan's body. They were as small as dust, but under the stimulation of the life water, his human treasure emitted an ancient aura, as if a dusty space had been opened. In a flash of brilliance, the blood essence hidden in Su Yan's body became majestic. This was a very astonishing manifestation. Su Yan's foundation was sufficiently powerful, but now he had opened up a space of potential hidden in the depths of his body that was difficult to excavate. Oh my God! Su Yan was excited and shocked. He found that his aura had been pushed forward by a considerable amount. This was quite heaven-defying. As he breathed, the surroundings rumbled and the heaven and earth trembled. This was the awakening of an exceptionally ferocious source of essence. What kind of precious liquid is this? He found it hard to imagine because his body began to flow backward. The life water he had absorbed just now meant that Su Yan's body had only absorbed a very small portion. His constitution couldn't contain much more. It flowed on its own and gathered in the lake. Just now, the life water had stimulated Su Yan's battle body and forced out his potential. This was relatively important. His body was even more perfect and brilliant. It towered between heaven and earth, flawless and without impurities. Immediately afterward, an even greater surprise arrived. That was because Su Yan's chest was boiling hot. He found that his chest was glowing and the innate divine ability Fist of Time also began to absorb the life water. This moved Su Yan because he found that his body didn't absorb as much as the Fist of Time. After receiving the nourishment of the life water, his chest glowed and a deafening Tao sound was transmitted from within. There seemed to be a little golden person chanting sutras in his chest. It was a blur as if it was sitting in the primal chaos. My innate divine ability has been nourished to the point of changing. Su Yan's pupils suddenly shrank. He carefully sensed it and found that the Fist of Time was now hazy and couldn't manifest its specific power. I understand now. It's because my cultivation isn't enough. When I become stronger in the future, the Fist of Time will develop on its own. It's not the time for it to be born yet. Even a heaven-defying constitution can't directly nurture an invincible secret technique. There are only 9 strongest divine abilities in history. This is enough to prove that the invincible secret technique is related to one's body. Su Yan thought to himself. It was really unknown how strong the Fist of Time would be when the time came. He also couldn't speculate what level the treasure liquid in the lake was at. Roar. Baotsai's progress was even greater. The main reason was that its combat strength was now inferior to Su Yan's, especially in the field of physical development. In the past, it didn't progress as fast as Su Yan. But now, Baokai had obtained tremendous benefit. Its body gushed with a holy radiance. It grinned and laughed in excitement. It's true. This substance is very strange. It can open up the potential space of the human body and stimulate my potential. This substance was even more heaven-defying than the yin-yang fish. They had only absorbed a very small portion of it, but there was an entire lake of treasure liquid here. This was a wealth that even peak influences would go green with envy. If they were stronger, then the benefits they would obtain would be even greater. This undoubtedly showed just how heaven-defying this lake's treasure liquid was. An incomplete universe truly contains heaven-defying opportunities. Su Yen couldn't help but sigh. This was the fatal attraction of the chaos ruins to the various races. There were some mystical substances that could greatly benefit a supreme being. They didn't know the name of this lake's life substance, but its effects were enough to make one go crazy. It's a pity that I'm too weak. Otherwise, it would be even stronger. Baokai sighed. It felt that it could absorb even more, but with its current boundary, it couldn't absorb more of the water of life. Even if the human body could absorb it, it would quickly flow out in reverse. This substance also has a fatal attraction to peak races. Su Yen was flabbergasted. To date, this was the most miraculous treasure liquid that Su Yen had discovered compared to the Saint-grade origin serum, the Yin-Yang fish, or the Great Tao evolution liquid. And Su Yen felt that this substance's value far surpassed those three. The dragon totem should have absorbed quite a bit, but with the dragon totem's strength, its absorption is relatively slow. But even though the dragon totem's absorption was relatively slow, it still surpassed Su Yan's by tens of thousands of times. But compared to the entire lake's shocking treasure liquid, the dragon totem's absorption was nothing. Will the dragon totem be able to slaughter the divine king in the future? Chapter 668. Why do I feel like the dragon totem has disappeared? Su Yan's eyes flashed with a strange light. The dragon totem that had always been on his arm was gradually becoming blurry, even on the verge of dissipating. It was as if it no longer existed, causing Su Yen to be flabbergasted. He even thought that when the dragon totem was strong enough, would it really transform into a dragon and leave him? In any case, the dragon totem protected the heavenly coffin. It was also the source of the back progenitor's entry into the god and devil civilization. It should belong to the back progenitor, and even had a great connection to the mysterious heavenly coffin in the immortal mountain. It's time to go. Baokai felt that it was about time. There wasn't much point in staying any longer. When they were strong enough in the future, they could continue to collect the precious liquid from the lake. Wait! Su Yen quickly took out some tools to store the water of life, but the result left Su Yen stunned. He discovered that tools couldn't be loaded, and even Great Tao weapons would explode. This left Su Yen dumbfounded. This material was extremely heavy, and ordinary tools couldn't bear it. Divine tools can be loaded, but there's very little of it. Baokai also quickly took out a jade bottle refined by a god. It could originally hold a great river, but it could only hold a pitifully small amount of the water of life. Moreover, this jade bottle was so heavy that it seemed like it would explode at any moment. Take as much as you can. It'll save you the trouble of making another trip in the future. Su Yen took out a divine tool to store treasures and took some away. Although the amount was not much, every drop had a rather shocking effect. Perhaps in the future, when they figured out what kind of rare treasure this thing was, they could use it to trade for treasures. After doing all of this, Baokai reluctantly left. It kept looking back, its panda eyes staring at this dead universe. Baokai couldn't help but wonder if this was its home. Or, could it be that its people had all died in this universe, and only it had survived? In the future, we must unravel the mystery here. Baokai growled at the dead universe. It knew very well that without the broken cauldron, it wouldn't have survived and would have been swallowed by this dead universe. Su Yen felt that even if the Divine King broke in, he would be doomed to die. The layout here was even more ferocious than Purgatory. Let's go. Su Yen patted Baocai's head, and they retreated without looking back. The dead universe was full of death. It was full of desolation and coldness. After Su Yen and Baocai's departure, it was completely silent. Let's go inside and see if we can take the treasures of the Great Tao. They quickly rushed inside and soon arrived at their destination. They could still clearly remember that there were 9,999 steps here. However, after they escaped back then, these steps had sunk down. Was that God? Su Yen and the others had already seen the giant palace floating in the void. It was as if it existed in another world, and it was filled with an unparalleled pressure. Standing there, it was solemn and dignified. When Su Yen and Bao Kai looked at it, they could feel the power within, and it made them feel like prostrating themselves in worship. The giant palace had been floating here for a long time, but it was breathing as if it had a life of its own. As it breathed in and out, this huge space was dark and lifeless, as if it had been swallowed up by an immeasurable amount of essence. The giant palace was radiant and contained an immeasurable amount of divine essence. It was like the core of the earth, gushing with a morning glow. What should we do? Bao Kai was hesitant. It was clear that there must be treasures inside the giant palace, but they were hesitant and didn't dare to climb it. The main reason was that the giant palace existed with a kind of supreme heavenly might. It was like a palace patrolling the heavens, suppressing this place. Su Yen and Bao Kai didn't dare to act rashly. They felt that once they approached, they would be reduced to ashes. Is this the foundation left behind by the ancestors? Su Yen muttered to himself. This matter was really hard to say. The experts of the burial realm hadn't come to the rear progenitor for many years. Only heaven knew what kind of form this palace existed in, or it might be a treasure. Didn't you grasp the mother scripture? Why don't you see if you can use the origin scripture to stimulate the giant palace? Bao Kai wasn't willing to leave just like that. Let's give it a try. Su Yen nodded. He sat down cross-legged and gazed at the giant palace. His precious body shone, and his 5 viscera resonated. Divine energy surged from his limbs and bones. The recovered energy in Su Yan's body gushed towards the sky and automatically condensed into astonishing characters. It was being chanted in the void, and the energy was surging towards the giant palace. What shocked Su Yan was that the giant palace really did have some inkling. It was emitting an even more brilliant radiance, and it was rustling and swaying. This was caused by Su Yan's sutra chanting. Boom! Immediately after, an even grander sutra chanting swept over in an instant. At this moment they were in unbearable pain. It was as if they heard billions of Tao sounds exploding in their ears. It shook their souls to the point that they felt like they were about to fall and shatter into pieces. The beginning of heaven and earth, the universe was desolate, the ancient voice seemed to have crossed the long river of time. It was wrapped in supreme majesty as it descended from the sky. It fell down from the giant palace and filled the entire world. It was as if a supreme deity was sitting here and preaching. Every syllable contained Tao sounds that could make a heavenly deity explode. It was truly terrifying and heaven-defying. The entire giant palace had recovered its spirituality. Moreover, inside the giant palace, the primal chaos was split into 4 and divided into yin and yang. It was as if a universe was being nurtured inside. An abnormally ancient aura assaulted their senses. Su Yen and Bao Kai were scared out of their wits because they saw a supreme figure appear inside the giant palace. Why do I feel that there's someone inside the giant palace? Bao Kai stammered. Did you see that? It felt that there was someone inside the giant palace. It was like a true immortal who had crossed the past, present, and future, stepped on one universe after another, suppressed the starry sky of the 9 heavens, and sailed towards this world to begin his return. Bursts of time and space aura approached. It was ancient and mysterious, filled with supreme Tao. There's really someone. Su Yen really felt that someone was crossing over here from the distant past. He was powerful and peerless, suppressing the past, present, and future. He looked down on the entire time and space. Only his Tao was everlasting. This was caused by the initial sutra. The giant palace changed. That person had returned from the distant past. He was sitting inside the palace like a supreme deity who suppressed the 9 heavens and 10 earths. However, he was too blurry and couldn't be seen clearly. Even if Su Yen tried his best to open his heavenly eye to look into the distance, his eyes were stinging as if they were going blind. He didn't dare to look any further. No matter if this person was real or just a trace of imprint, he wasn't someone that he could peek at right now. He's too strong. He's even more terrifying than a supreme being. This was Baotsai's first thought. They couldn't get close and could only stand far away. The world he was in was a world that belonged to him. His aura was so terrifying that it suppressed everything. Su Yen wanted to ask if he was one of the progenitors of the buried region. However, he found that he couldn't speak at all. He could feel that the initial sutra had formed a connection with him. However, he didn't impart any techniques or Tao. He just stood in the giant palace. It was a blur, as if he was standing in another universe, looking at this world from afar. In the end, they could feel that the aura was getting weaker and weaker. The giant palace gradually returned to tranquility. Su Yen and Baokai were stunned. It disappeared and no longer existed. Only the giant palace was still there, just like before. Just now, you clearly triggered the substance in the giant palace. Why didn't you let us in? Baokai was scratching his ears and cheeks. He really wanted to go in and see what was hidden in the giant palace. After all, this was the later progenitor. The giant palace might very well contain the inheritance of the buried region. Our Tao is too weak. We can't even withstand the sound of the Tao from the giant palace. Su Yen realized that he was injured and his spirit was weak. This was caused by the sound of the great Tao from the giant palace. Fortunately, there was no killing intent. Otherwise, they would have all disappeared. They left this place. They didn't force it. They would figure it out one day in the future. After leaving Emperor Qin's mausoleum, Su Yen strolled in the wilderness. He found that the battlefield of the past had changed a lot. Many small fortresses were built as supply points for warriors. After all, humans needed to grow and fight with beasts. Su Yen felt that it was necessary to leave behind a systematic cultivation method and pass it down. It could allow the overall strength of the Huaxia alliance to climb several levels. Look at the giant panda. They caused a commotion along the way. Many people rushed over to watch. However, Su Yen and Baokai were too fast and left the crowd behind. Soon, Su Yen arrived at a place with beautiful mountains and limpid waters. He wanted to visit his foster parents. However, the grave was overgrown with weeds. No one had cleaned it for a long time. Su Yan's expression changed. Frost, a terrifying light flashed in his eyes. Did something happen to Bing Shuang? This place should have been abandoned for 2 or 3 years. It shouldn't be. With Frost's Tao, no one on earth can threaten him. Moreover, the strong people in the Huaxia alliance wouldn't make things difficult for him. Something must have happened. Su Yen was still worried. He quickly left with Baokai and headed towards Base 9. Frost Academy, I'm coming again. Su Yan's movements were extremely fast. Even though the power of the Great Path in his body was suppressed, Su Yen arrived at the Ice Snow Academy in the 9th base in just half an hour. This was the academy built by his sister, Su Bingshuang. Base 9 was very prosperous now. The Frost Academy was even the #1 academy. It was because Su Yen came from the Frost Academy. Moreover, the founder was the female Shura, Su Bingshuang. The Frost Academy's campus was also expanded. It was 10 times bigger than before and could accommodate 100,000 students. At the entrance of the academy, there was a giant stone statue. Many people were watching and discussing it. Su Yen was a little surprised because it was his stone statue. Time seemed to have returned to the time when Su Yen first woke up. He saw Su Yan's stone statue. Looking at the stone statue in front of him, Su Yen couldn't help but smile bitterly. I wonder how big the gap is between the #1 war god of the Huaxia alliance, Su Yen, And the #1 war god of the Western Alliance? Someone said, causing a commotion. In their hearts, Su Yen was invincible. However, how could the #1 war god of the Western Alliance be on par with war god Su Yen? Many people glared at the cultivator who spoke. Chapter 669. There were always people coming to the stone statue to pay their respects to the Huaxia Alliance's #1 god of war, Su Yen. Some of the elders were recounting the legend of Su Yen. They respected the #1 god of war of the Huaxia Alliance from the bottom of their hearts. They knew that if it wasn't for the #1 god of war, the Huaxia Alliance would have faced an unprecedented disaster. But now, someone was belittling the #1 god of war, Su Yen. The surrounding residents glared at him angrily, and some of the elders almost scolded him. Morlin, a young man with injuries on his body, glared at him. He was only in his early 20s, but he was full of vigor. He barged in from the crowd and shouted, "You're too arrogant. What right do you have to criticize the #1 god of war, Su Yen?" "Why, did I say anything wrong?" This young man named Morlin was a famous genius in the Western Alliance. He laughed and said, "If God of War Su Yen was strong enough, he would have stood up long ago. The #1 god of war of the Western Alliance is the real strong one. He could even subdue a dragon, let alone the #1 god of war of the Huaxia Alliance. No matter how strong he is, he can't be stronger than a dragon." "What bullshit dragon? The Western Alliance doesn't have a bullshit dragon." Gu Xinghuai's face turned pale. He shouted, "Subdue a dragon? Have you seen what a dragon looks like? And our #1 god of war, Su Yen, can even subdue aliens." "Haha, aliens?" Morlin shook his head and said arrogantly, "I've heard of this before. They were just a few Taoism mystic realm cultivators. Even I am a top Taoism mystic realm cultivator now. If it was a dozen years ago, I could also subdue aliens." What a joke. A dozen years ago, the Western Alliance didn't even have a single Taoism mystic realm cultivator. Gu Xinghuai mocked, "Why don't you go back 100 years and be the savior of the world?" "Gu Xinghuai, you're just a loser. Do you want to suffer? Isn't the Ice Snow Academy second only to Huaxia University? Why is the #1 disciple so weak?" Morlin's face darkened. His entire body was filled with a tyrannical aura. The great Tao gates in his body shone brightly. The pressure caused the surrounding cultivators to tremble and their limbs to go soft. At this moment, Morlin's aura was extremely powerful. His body was suffused with radiance, especially with his full head of golden hair. He looked both demonic and mystical, filled with astonishing charisma that swept out in all directions. Many young disciples of the Ice Snow Academy were livid. Indeed, Morlin had come to challenge Gu Xinghuai, and Gu Xinghuai had lost. If word got out, the reputation of the Ice Snow Academy would be tarnished, and Morlin's reputation would be boosted. In the past few years, the two alliances had been in conflict, and even Gu Xinghuai felt extremely humiliated. He felt that he had brought shame to the entire China alliance. Morlin is too strong. Some of the female students from the Ice Snow Academy had their eyes lit up. "He is so handsome. He is so cool. He looks like the Son of God. I heard that he is a famous genius in the Western Alliance." Yes, Morlin is an incredible figure in the Western Alliance. It would be great if I could stand with him. That Gu Xinghuai is too useless. I used to admire him for a period of time, but he was defeated by Morlin. It can't be helped. Morlin is the young genius of the Western Alliance. The discussion of some of the infatuated girls made Morlin release an even stronger force field. His expression became colder and colder. He looked around at some of the female students, as if he was inspecting his prey. All the girls who were under his gaze smiled excitedly. So many beauties from the East. What a feast! It seems that these young girls really admire the strong cultivators of the Western Alliance. Haha, this will be easy. Morlin laughed in his heart. He came to the Huaxia Alliance not only to destroy the confidence of the younger generation, but also to establish the strength and prestige of the Four Alliance. Of course, his goal was to capture some beauties. Many of the girls were also very angry. No matter how strong Morlin was, the contributions of the #1 war god Su Yan could never be blasphemed. However, Morlin dared to say such things. There will always be people who worship foreign things. Some of the older people shook their heads in disappointment. However, they didn't understand why the Huaxia Alliance had been losing in the past few years. This made the cultivators of the Western Alliance even more arrogant. Any cultivator of the Western Alliance on the street would attract a lot of attention. Gu Xinghuai, if you lose, you lose. Why do you have to mention Su Yan? Morlin was just saying it. What can he do? Another young student stood out and spoke. His aura was also very strong. He looked directly at Gu Xinghuai and sneered. Tang Jierui, are you still a student of the Ice Snow Academy? Why are you helping an outsider? Gu Xinghuai's face turned pale. No matter what, he wouldn't allow anyone to trample on his idol. Tang Jierui was ranked 3rd in the Ice Snow Academy, and his clan had a great influence in the Huaxia Alliance. I'm sorry, but I've been accepted by Huaxia University. I've just finished the withdrawal procedures. Tang Jierui smiled. He looked down at Gu Xinghuai from a lofty position. In the past, Gu Xinghuai had always been above him. Tang Jierui was also angry in his heart. How could Gu Xinghuai, who had no backing, have such strong talent? Previously on the battle stage, he was beaten up by Morlin. Tang Jierui also vented his anger. What? You've entered Huaxia University? Gu Xinghuai's face changed and his heart was burning with anger. He knew that Tang Jierui had an uncle who taught at Huaxia University. He didn't expect Tang Jierui to get into Huaxia University so quickly. Huaxia University was the strongest university in the Huaxia Alliance. Obviously, Tang Jierui got in through the back door. This made Gu Xinghuai feel even worse. He was stronger and more talented than Tang Jierui. He felt that this was too unfair. Morlin, let's not talk about this anymore. I think we should go to Huaxia University today. There are many young masters there. You can fight with the young masters of the Huaxia Alliance without holding back. Tang Jierui laughed. Hearing this, Morlin quickly shook his head. What a joke. There were so many beauties waiting for him. How could he leave so easily? Su Yan looked at this scene calmly. He even spread out his divine sense and covered the entire Ice Snow Academy. He didn't find any trace of Tang Yi. He had an ominous feeling. It seemed that Huaxia University really had an accident. A group of top masters had left and attracted the attention of the Western Alliance. Wow, a giant panda! Suddenly, a young girl with a curvy figure shouted excitedly. She saw a giant panda standing on the street behind the crowd. A Baokai was patrolling this conflict. A giant panda! It's that giant panda! It actually came to base number 9. Screams came from all directions. They still remembered the picture that was spread around the Huaxia Alliance. They didn't expect a Baokai to come to base number 9 and even stand on the street, right in front of the Ice Snow Academy. Morlin was very unhappy. Everyone's attention had shifted to the giant panda. He snorted in his heart. Isn't it just a beast? Is it more popular than me? Facing the crowd, the Baokai was too lazy to show off. In its eyes, these people were too weak to be worth bragging about. Beautiful girl, I see that you like this giant panda very much. Morlin walked up and said with a gentle voice. His eyes scanned the girl who was the first to notice the giant panda. She had an excellent figure and fair skin. She was staring at the Baokai with her eyes shining. Morlin's voice made the girl's heart tremble. She didn't expect her idol to talk to her. She was so excited that she couldn't speak coherently. Her face turned red, and she didn't know what to say. Under the jealous gazes of the surrounding girls, Morlin smiled and said to Su Yan, "My friend, how much is this giant panda?" I'll buy it. As soon as Morlun finished speaking, Su Yen quickly held the Baokai down. He was really worried that the Baokai would go crazy and reveal its aura. After all, Su Yen wanted to know how strong the Western Alliance was. He wanted to know if they really had the guts to attack the Huaxia Alliance. Haha, this giant panda is very smart. It knows that I want to sell it. Morlun understood the Baocai's struggle. This made the Baokai so angry that it was smoking. The Baokai didn't want Morlun to be its mount. After speaking, Morlun smiled at Su Yen and said, I want to buy the giant panda for double the price. I'll give it to this beautiful girl. My friend, please name your price. The girl was so excited that she didn't know what to say. She didn't expect Morlun to have such a kind heart despite his ferocious appearance. At this moment, she wanted to submit to Morlun. This scene made Morlun smile. His plan was done, and there was a new prey coming to his door at night. My friend, why aren't you naming your price? Tang Jirui frowned when he realized that Su Yen didn't speak. He asked, just name your price. Don't worry, I'm here. I won't let you lose out. I don't know you, Su Yen replied calmly. Tang Jirui's expression changed. He suppressed the anger in his heart and said, I'll say it like this. My grandfather is Tang Zipping. Is this enough? I'll buy him and give you the money after this. Everyone in the 9th base knew about Tang Zipping. He was a famous figure more than 10 years ago. His development in the past 10 years had been very smooth. He had already entered the upper management of Huaxia University. Tang Zipping. Su Yen felt that the name was familiar, but he couldn't remember. He shook his head and said, I don't know this person. You. Tang Jirui's expression darkened. Before he could say anything, Morlun said unhappily, just name your price. I'll give you 10 times the price. He doesn't want to sell. Are you going to force him? Gu Xinghuai said with a cold face. He couldn't bear to see this foreigner being so arrogant. Gu Xinghuai, I advise you to step aside. Tang Jirui was also angry. He pointed at Su Yan's nose and shouted, I'll ask you one question. Are you going to sell him or not? Scram as far as you can before I change my mind. Su Yan looked at Tang Jirui. His deep eyes faintly flashed with a trace of murderous intent. Tang Jirui's scalp was about to explode. He felt as if he had fallen into a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. His whole body was covered in cold sweat. Hey, how can you talk to my friend like that? Morlun clenched his fists and pressed forward to teach Su Yen a lesson. Brother, leave quickly. This foreigner is very strong. Gu Xinghuai hurriedly reminded. Su Yen noticed that there was a dark energy spreading in Morlun's body. When it spread throughout his body, it caused his strength to increase rapidly. This made Su Yen a little curious. Boom. The people around them didn't expect that Morlun would attack instantly. He waved his fist and punched Su Yen. How dare the Western Alliance act so brazenly in my Huaxia Alliance? Su Yan's eyes widened. His hair fluttered without wind. He just stood there, and the aura that spread out slightly made the fierce Morlun feel terrified. He felt as if a ferocious beast had risen from the ground and was about to devour him. Morlun was terrified. He spat out a mouthful of blood and was sent flying. His heart was silent in purgatory. He let out a terrified scream because his mind had been broken. He hugged his head and screamed crazily. The people around were all dumbfounded. What did they just see? Su Yen didn't even move. Morlun was sent flying. He was in so much pain that he wanted to die. Chapter 670. The whole street was silent. The young faces of the Ice Snow Academy students were all frozen at this moment. Even many old people were stunned. Morlun, who had shown his invincible power in the martial arts field, was lying on the ground and spitting blood. He was even wailing in pain. Was he really a genius of the Western Alliance? Was he still the Morlun from the martial arts field? Many people even saw clearly that Su Yan didn't even make a move. Morlin was directly sent flying, holding his head and wailing in pain. This was a bit ridiculous. The first thing they thought was that Su Yan was in big trouble. Although Su Yan's strength was beyond their expectations, and Tang Jierui thought that he was a strong man in the divine arcana realm, a cultivator in the divine arcana realm was nothing in front of the Tang family. Moreover, he had defeated Morlin. Tang Jierui roared and called for help. First of all, Morlin was beaten. He was a famous genius of the Western Alliance, and Tang Jierui had treated him personally. If something happened to Morlin in his territory, he would be blamed. Second of all, a cultivator in the divine arcana realm was indeed powerful, but the strongest man in the Tang family was a strong man in the transcendence realm, and he was also a senior in Huaxia University. He wouldn't be afraid of a cultivator in the divine arcana realm. F***ck, that's too fierce. When Gu Xinghuai roared excitedly, there was an uproar. Someone shouted, "Come and see, the foreigner is beaten." Serves him right. He's acting tough here, and he even pointed at Su Yan, the first god of war. He's the one who beat him. I don't know who this fierce man is. Fierce man, leave quickly. The Tang family is very powerful in the 9th base. If you don't leave, you'll be punished by the law enforcement office. The Tang family and the Western Alliance have a good relationship. In short, this place was in an uproar, and many people's faces were deathly pale. They never thought that such a ferocious person would directly make a move and teach Morlin a lesson. Morlin was still lying on the ground, shivering, unable to recover from the fear in his mind. Gu Xinghuai, don't meddle in other people's business. Tang Jierui blushed and said, if something bad happens to Morlin, you just wait and see. You'll be in trouble later. D*mn, it's just a foreign devil. What's the big deal? Gu Xinghuai glared at him and shouted, brother, you go first. If anything happens, I'll take responsibility. Hurry up and leave this place. The Tang family's men will be here soon. You can't go. Tang Jierui got up abruptly and said, I don't care who you are. I've already remembered your appearance. Even if you escape, you can't escape from my grasp. There's a limit to my patience, Su Yan said coldly. If you continue to blabber on, I don't mind helping your Tang family clean house. You. Tang Jierui was so angry that he almost flew into the air. Their Tang family was a famous family in the Huaxia Alliance, but this young man didn't give them any face at all. In fact, he even dared to make a move just because he wanted to. He simply didn't put the Tang family in his eyes. In short, Gu Xinghuai was stunned. He felt that Su Yan's confidence was too great. Could it be that he really had an extraordinary background? Could it be that he was able to get the strong men of the Huaxia Alliance to speak for him? Huh? Why does this person look like the statue of Su Yan, the god of war? Gu Xinghuai scratched his head. After all, Su Yan had left Earth for more than 2 decades. After experiencing so many hardships, his appearance had changed a little. Plus, his hair was a little messy, so Gu Xinghuai couldn't see Su Yan's face clearly. What's going on? Why is it so messy here? At this moment, a group of guards from the 9th base suddenly appeared at the gate of the Snow Academy. They were all wearing armor and looked very powerful. When they arrived, the crowd automatically made way for them. Many people looked at Su Yan with pity. It should be known that the Tang family had a great influence in the 9th base. There were even many members of the Tang family in the 9th base's law enforcement team. Who's causing trouble here? The leader was a middle-aged man with a strong appearance. He was holding a silver war spear. When he saw Morlin on the ground, his expression changed. 6. As soon as Tang Jierui opened his mouth, his 6th uncle, Tang Gaoang, glared at him. He looked directly at Su Yan and waved his hand. Take the perpetrator away and detain him. How dare you? Gu Xinghuai was enraged. He stood up and said loudly, I know you. You're the vice-captain of the law enforcement team of the 9th base. You're also Tang Jirui's 6th uncle. You want to take him away without even asking. You're bending the law. It was Morilon who attacked first. Who are you to speak here? Tang Gaoang's face was gloomy. You think you can just say who attacked first? Who do you think you are? The Dean of the Snow Academy? Shut your mouth right now, or we'll take you away too. Gu Xinghuai was furious. This was too disrespectful. He even wanted to take him away. Capture the two of them, Tang Jirui growled. Not only did he beat up Morilon, but he also insulted the Tang family and threatened to kill me. What? You want to kill someone? How dare you cause trouble in the Tang family's territory? Tang Gaoang's face darkened. He waved his hand and shouted, "Take him down. I don't care how powerful his background is. If he dares to kill someone here, even the Dean can't save him." The law enforcement team of the 9th base, which belongs to Huaxia University, is being used by the small Tang family. Su Yan's eyes were cold. He said coldly, "The Tang family is really powerful. Do you think the 9th base is your backyard?" Say that again. Tang Gaoang thought he had misheard. The small Tang family. The Tang family was a powerful family in the Huaxia Alliance and had great influence in the 9th base. However, Su Yan called them a small Tang family. He's insulting the Tang family. Tang Jirui cursed angrily. You son of a bitch. You can't humiliate the Tang family. Kneel down or I'll kill all of you, bam. The surrounding people craned their necks and looked up at the sky. Tang Jirui flew up. No one saw how Su Yan did it. They only saw Tang Jirui fly up and scream in pain. He felt like his body was no longer his own. Tang Gaoang was taken aback. Then, he hastily let out a furious roar. All the cultivators from the enforcement team charged into the sky, wanting to catch Tang Jirui, who was descending from the sky. However, when they reached Tang Jirui, a terrifying force attacked them. More than 10 enforcers screamed in unison and fell to the ground in group. They were like a group of sandbags, vomiting blood. Jirui! Tang Gaoang's eyes turned red. Tang Jirui was seriously injured. He found that the source of life in Tang Jirui's body had been shattered. Tang Jirui's cultivation seemed to have returned to its original state. Tang Jirui was a genius of the Tang family. Now he was crippled in front of him. Tang Gaoang was furious. Bastard, I'll kill you! Tang Gaoang was mad. He roared and waved his silver spear. Wait here! Su Yan let out a cold shout, causing Tang Gaoang's body to tremble. Even the secret door of the divine ability was shaken until it cracked. Tang Gaoang's face paled in shock, and he was so frightened that he almost fell to the ground. Wait here! Just as Tang Gaoang was about to stand up, Su Yan's angry rebuke was heard. This made Tang Gaoang despair. This person was too strong. He didn't have the slightest strength to resist in front of Su Yan. Even his ears were about to burst. Boring. Can't we just kill him? Baokai was listless. I want to see how many people will come because of Mo Liluan. Su Yan was expressionless, but there was a trace of killing intent in his eyes. Their words were coincidentally caught by Gu Xinghuai. His heart trembled inexplicably. Who was this person? Standing here arrogantly and waiting for the Tang clan. Could he? Gu Xinghuai suspected that Su Yan was a strong man in the Transcendence realm. Otherwise, he wouldn't be so fearless. The street was silent. The onlookers were stunned. After all, on the street of base number 9, the Tang family members were like a bunch of dead dogs lying on the ground. It was as if they had submitted to this young man. If this news spread, it would have a huge impact. After all, the old master of the Tang family was a strong man in Huaxia University. What? The Tang family was taught a lesson? The Tang family, the family close to the Western Alliance, was taught a lesson at base number 9. It happened at the gate of the Ice Academy. I heard that Mo Liluan was beaten up. He even defeated the chief disciple of the Ice Academy. The news spread like wildfire through the communicator, causing quite a stir. Everyone in the Ice Academy was shocked. Many teachers were watching from afar. Even Tang Gaoang, the vice-captain of the law enforcement team, was suppressed on the spot. They all felt that this young man's strength was not to be underestimated. The storm was coming. Base number 9 was in chaos. Who dares to mess with the Tang family in base number 9? Who dares to mess with us in our territory? Let's go. I want to see who did this. The Tang family was boiling. A large number of people were rushing toward the Ice Academy. Even the law enforcement team was on the move. After all, the vice-captain was suppressed by Su Yan. Anyway, this incident had caused a big stir in base number 9. Perhaps the top Transcendence Realm cultivators would really come. Brother, it will be too late if you don't leave now. The Tang family has deep roots in base number 9. Relying on their old master's position in Huaxia University, they didn't even give face to the Ice Academy. Gu Xinghuai was shocked. A large number of soldiers came from all directions and blocked the street. They were going to capture Su Yan. If Su Yan fell into the hands of the Tang family, the consequences would be dire. The Tang family is so powerful. Su Yan stood with his hands behind his back and looked around coldly. Chapter 671. The street was deserted. Most of the onlookers had left, afraid of getting involved. Everyone knew how powerful the Tang family was in base 9. Especially in recent years, almost no one dared to mess with them. The Tang clan had mobilized more than 200 soldiers, all of them wearing battle armor. They had completely sealed off the area, and the surroundings were filled with an austere aura. Tang Gaoang laughed complacently. I say, I really admire your courage for being able to remain calm even now. Scram! A cold glint flashed in Su Yan's eyes. With a kick, he sent Tang Gaoang flying towards the soldiers who were charging towards them. How dare you! The Tang family members were enraged. Many of their eyes were red. No one dared to mess with the Tang family in base 9. Tang Gaoang was even the vice-captain of the law enforcement team. He had great power in base 9. Gu Xinghuai felt his hair stand on end, but he still stood firm and yelled, You Tang clan people have gone too far. You didn't even ask before attacking. You have no respect for the law. I'm going to report you to Huaxia University. Some of the Tang family members sneered. Report to Huaxia University? The Tang family had an old man in Huaxia University who was in the upper echelons. How could they be afraid of Gu Xinghuai? A student dares to go against the Tang family? The leader of the group was a cultivator at the pinnacle of the transcendent realm. When this person walked out, Tang Jirui felt like he had seen his savior. He screamed, Fourth uncle, I've been crippled. I don't have a trace of divine power in my body. I've been crippled. Tang Jirui cried. In the current Huaxia alliance, a mortal didn't even have a trace of status. They were even worse than a beggar, and even a beggar could awaken. But he had been crippled by Su Yan. What? Jirui you? Tang Jirui's fourth uncle's face was filled with rage and disbelief. Tang Jirui was the current genius of the Tang family. If he was crippled, the family leader of the Tang family would go crazy. After all, Tang Jirui had entered the Huaxia University. Tang Gaoi let out an uncontrollable roar like a wild beast. He roared at Su Yan, You really want to die. How dare you cripple a member of the Tang family? I don't care who you are, but you can't leave the 9th base alive today. And Gu Xinghuai. He also attacked, and Morlin was also beaten up. Tang Jirui seemed to have lost his mind, biting whoever he saw. None of them can be left alive. Morlin is a genius of the Western Alliance. Once he comes out, it will bring about a great disaster. It is very likely that our Tang family will be implicated. I think we should just suppress them and hand them over to the Western Alliance. A general of the Tang family shouted angrily as he pulled out a killing sword. Gu Xinghuai, come here. At that moment, A powerful aura gushed out of the Ice Snow Academy. It was a group of teachers and the vice principal. Gu Xinghuai was the top disciple of the academy and was about to break through to the transcendent realm. They would not let anything happen to him. Your Ice Snow Academy dares to stop the Tang family from arresting the shopkeeper? Tang Gaoi's face was cold. Ever since the principal of the Ice Snow Academy had left and the founder, the female Shura, had gone missing, the Ice Snow Academy no longer had any strong cultivators. Gu Xinghuai is the top disciple of the Ice Snow Academy. If you dare to go against him, the Ice Snow Academy will report this to Huaxia University and ask Lei Lao to uphold justice. The people from the Ice Snow Academy were very tough. Baokai was happy to hear that. It seemed that the person in charge of Huaxia University was now Lei Lao. Back in the day, Su Yan and Lei Lao had a personal feud. After all, Lei Lao had realized his mistake and changed his mind. His cultivation was also one of the few top Transcendence Realm cultivators in the Huaxia Alliance. What a good Ice Snow Academy! Tang Gaoi said coldly. Morlin is a genius of the Western Alliance. If news of him being crippled spread to the Western Alliance, let's see how Lei Lao will uphold justice for you. I want to protest. Suddenly, Morlin came back to his senses from the pain and screamed, I want to protest! I want to protest to the highest level of the Alliance. Morlin, don't worry. I will suppress the culprit and let you deal with him. There is no need to alert the Western Alliance. Tang Gaoi said coldly. With the current situation between the two alliances, many of the Huaxia Alliance's higher-ups had already expressed their stance. They did not want to have any conflicts with the Western Alliance. This was the wish of the Tang family head. Therefore, no matter how big of a mess he made at base number 9, there would be people who would suppress it because of Morlin. I will suppress the culprit now. Tang Gaoi rushed over like lightning. His aura was strong and he released his secret power. It gathered into a huge mountain and started to suppress Su Yan. Be careful. The teachers from the Ice Snow Academy were all furious. The vice principal, who was the leader, rushed forward to protect Su Yan. This young man was a powerful cultivator. If he died, it would be a great loss to the Huaxia Alliance. The Huaxia Alliance needed a Transcendence Realm cultivator to hold the fort. Bam! However, the people around only saw a flash in front of their eyes. It seemed that an extremely powerful energy burst out like a volcano exploding. Then, everyone trembled. They saw the powerful Tang Gaoi fly out and roll hundreds of feet away. He fell to the ground with a series of bone-cracking sounds. The vice principal of the Ice Snow Academy couldn't help but murmur, a Transcendence Realm cultivator. According to the statistics, there were less than 300 Transcendence Realm cultivators in the Huaxia Alliance. However, every one of them was famous. However, he had never heard of such a person. Could it be that he had just broken through to the Transcendence Realm? He is a Transcendence Realm cultivator. Oh my God, how can this young man be so strong? No wonder he is not afraid of the Tang family. His cultivation level is so high. The whole place was in an uproar. Some students who were worried about Su Yan were very excited. It was rare to see a Transcendence Realm cultivator in base number 9. After all, this represented the strongest force on Earth. Don't move, it's broken. Tang Gaoi's entire body was covered in cold sweat. His body was trembling uncontrollably. The bones in his body were all broken and destroyed by a terrifying destructive force. He didn't even see clearly how Su Yan did it. Call for help. Tang Gaoi screamed, call for help. Call the old family head back, now. This is getting out of hand. The teachers of the Ice Snow Academy were shocked. The old family head of the Tang family, Tang Zipping, was a level 6 Transcendence Realm cultivator. He had been a disciple of Huaxia University for more than 10 years. It was said that according to seniority, he was the senior brother of the number 1 war god, Su Yan. He was a true lion. Ever since Su Yan left more than 10 years ago, there were very few young disciples who had entered the Dharma plane among that group of people. Therefore, every single one of them could do whatever they wanted in the Huaxia Alliance. The Huaxia Alliance is really useless. You can't even take care of one person. I think it's necessary for the Western Alliance's war god to come and take care of you. Morillon struggled to get up. He had come to the Huaxia Alliance to show off his combat power, but now he was in such a miserable state. One could imagine how terrible he was feeling. Bam! As soon as Morillon got up, Su Yan appeared in front of him and slapped him. Morillon's nose and mouth were bleeding. Under the shocked gaze of everyone, Su Yan waved his hand again and slapped the top of Morillon's head. Oh my God, he's going to kill Morillon. No, killing him will cause a civil war between the two alliances. You can't kill him. The people of the Tang family were shocked. This method was too bloody. He was going to kill the moment he arrived. Su Yan did not kill him. Instead, he pressed his hand on the top of Morillon's head, causing the dark energy in his body to boil. Su Yan wanted to figure out what kind of substance this energy belonged to and how it could allow Morillon's strength to soar. Kill me if you can. Kill me. Morillon was in extreme pain. He felt that the divine power in his body was being sucked out. He roared in pain, "Just you wait. I'll make the entire Huaxia Alliance pay a heavy price for this." No! Morillon screamed continuously. The divine power in his body was being sucked out by Su Yan. He was also crippled. His source of life was sucked out. He became weak instantly and even collapsed on the ground. This is the Huaxia Alliance, not the Western Alliance. Go back and tell your Western Alliance's experts that I'll fight you to the end. Su Yan's eyes were filled with killing intent. He had deciphered the dark energy. Although this energy could stimulate his potential, it would also deplete Morillon's lifespan. This was equivalent to an evil technique. It was very taxing on one's strength and couldn't be used easily. He was very surprised that the Western Alliance had such a secret technique. Did they not know how harmful it was to the body? Just as Su Yan was pondering, a terrifying airflow came from afar. A black battleship sailed toward the 9th base. The battleship was huge, and it was like a giant black beast that was flying through the air. It exuded a suffocating energy fluctuation. Look, it's Huaxia Base 6. It must be our Tang family's old patriarch. He's taking Huaxia Base 6. The Tang family was excited. One of them stared at Su Yan and said, "Kid, just you wait. Even the old patriarch is here. You dared to disturb him and cripple Morillon. You're a sinner of the Huaxia Alliance. You won't have a good ending." Huaxia Base 6 stopped above Base 9. An old man in black walked out first. He didn't look angry. After receiving a message from his family, he immediately used Huaxia Base 6. This showed Tang Zipping's current status in Huaxia University. Tang Zipping was accompanied by a gray-robed elder. He was the vice dean of the Snow Academy, who had informed the head steward of the Huaxia College. After all, this matter involved the fight for the Dharma plane, so it had to be reported to the higher-up. Ice Snow Academy. When the old man in gray saw the stone statue at the gate of the Ice Snow Academy, he was slightly dazed. Old Liang sighed in his heart. When old Liang noticed a giant panda, he was shocked. This panda was too similar to the Baokai of old. Their expressions were almost the same, as if they were made from the same mold. Old Liang couldn't believe it. Wait, when old Liang saw the young man standing next to the panda, he was shocked. Although Su Yan's appearance had changed a little, old Liang had seen Su Yan many times. With one look, old Liang knew that this was Su Yan, who had been missing for more than 10 years. Old Liang's whole body was trembling. His eyes were wet. He was so excited that he roared in his heart, F***CK? Are these people blind? Chapter 672. Old Master, it's him. He crippled Tang Jerue and Morillon. Tang Gaoi was also crippled. Although he could be cured, Su Yan's destructive power was shocking. Furthermore, Tang Gaoi was still very young and had a high chance of entering the Transcendence realm. Bastard, don't worry, Gaoi. The family will uphold justice for you. Another powerful middle-aged man came. This was Tang Jirui's uncle, second in the family. As for the old master, he was a strong cultivator from the Huaxia alliance. Tang Gaohong was extremely jealous. He had just used some means to get Tang Jirui to train at Huaxia University. In the end, Tang Jirui was crippled. This made Tang Gaohong extremely angry. After all, it had taken a lot of effort to get Tang Jirui to train at Huaxia University. Tang Zipping's face was very gloomy. 2 transcendent realm cultivators had been crippled in the family. Even a rising star with great potential had been crippled. This was equivalent to a disaster for the Tang family. The most important thing was that Morlin was crippled. If this matter was not handled properly, the Western Alliance's anger would fall on the Tang family. This made Tang Zipping's face very gloomy. Young man, you're really brave. Tang Zipping put his hands behind his back and looked down at Su Yan. The more he looked, the more familiar he felt. He was a little suspicious and asked, "Have we met before? Why do you look so familiar?" Damn, it would be strange if I didn't find him familiar. If I remember correctly, Tang Zipping used to worship Su Yan. Elder Liang cursed. He was very excited. He activated the communicator and told Lei Lao and the others that Su Yan had really returned. This meant that the martial god Yuan might also be back. This was a reversal of the crisis that the Huaxia alliance was facing. Elder Liang, although this young man's actions were cruel, it was understandable. The Tang family was aggressive. They came wave after wave to get back at this young man. The vice principal of the Ice Snow Academy walked over. Mr. Liang had come because of him. The Tang family has gone overboard these past few years. They've been treating the 9th base like their own backyard. We can't let this go on. Tang Wulin exclaimed. The Tang family has been treating the 9th base like their own backyard. I can't uphold justice. The vice dean smiled bitterly. Even though Elder Liang was the head of Huaxia University, it was more convenient for him to cultivate. Tang Zipping was more powerful, and the Tang family had 2 Dharma plane cultivators. Right now, the 9th base seemed like a storm was coming. As for the entire Huaxia alliance, it was as if a huge earthquake had occurred. Because of Elder Liang's message, many of the old experts of the Huaxia alliance fell into shock and disbelief. They stared at the contents of the communicator, their eyes wide open. They read back and forth a few times, and finally, they sucked in a breath of cold air. They were back. They clearly knew that more than 10 years ago, the 2 war gods, Su Yan and Yuan and Tai Baokai, had left. But now, Su Yan had miraculously returned, and he was in the 9th base of the Huaxia alliance. For a moment, all the big families were shaken. Elder Liang knew that Su Yan's return would cause a huge earthquake in the Huaxia alliance. It could be said to be the biggest thing to happen in the past 10 years. I think so. Su Yan looked at Tang Zipping carefully and said indifferently, I think you look familiar too. Hearing this, Tang Zipping became even more powerful. He said coldly, Young man, you're so confident. Why don't you tell me where you came from? Tell me, how should I deal with you after beating up people from the Tang family and crippling Tang Jirui? They started it first, Su Yan said indifferently. If you want to deal with them, you should first ask them what happened. Tang Zipping frowned. He hadn't been in charge of the family for many years, so a Dharma plane expert shouldn't have made things difficult for Tang Jirui. But no matter what, the Tang family had suffered too much, and Tang Zipping couldn't take it lying down. How dare you? Tang Gaohong glared at Su Yan and shouted, Master, why are you wasting your time talking to him? I think we should just suppress him and ask him about it. The Tang family can't be bullied for nothing. But why do I see that it's the Tang family that's acting like a tyrant in the 9th base? Su Yan smiled coldly and said, What do you mean by bullied? Aren't you afraid that the people of the 9th base will criticize you for saying this? Tang Zipping waved his hand and stopped Tang Gaohong's words. He looked at Su Yan and snorted, "Let's not talk about the Tang family first. You've gone too far with Morlin. Although you're a Dharma plane expert, you can't ignore the big picture. You targeted the Western Alliance recklessly and even crippled Morlin. If this causes a conflict between the two alliances, you'll be a sinner for all eternity." A sinner for all eternity. Su Yan smiled coldly and said, "This is the territory of the Huaxia Alliance. Since when did the Western Alliance have the right to behave atrociously here? How can he swallow his anger when he's being bullied? He's lucky that I didn't kill him." Well said. That's right. Why should Morlin enjoy special treatment? He was the one who started it. That's right. He even humiliated the #1 god of war, Su Yan. What right does he have? Many students cried out, roaring out the anger in their hearts. Shut up. What do you students know? Tang Gaohong scolded angrily. The Huaxia Alliance has always been a country of etiquette. As a Dharma plane cultivator, you attacked a rising star of the Western Alliance. Do you know what kind of negative impact this will cause? I'll protest against the alliance. The perpetrator must die," Morlin said in a desperate and resentful voice. "And those who protect him won't have a good ending either. Morlin, the situation isn't that bad. The Huaxia Alliance has a special secret medicine that can help you stand up," Tang Gaohong quickly said. "Really?" Morlin seemed to have seen the light. Tang Gaohong nodded with certainty. The Academy had a few copies of this medicine that came from the strongest training ground. Morlin said excitedly, "Okay, as long as you hand this person over to me, I won't pursue the Huaxia Alliance's mistake. I'll let our experts go back immediately." "That's not a problem." Tang Gaohong looked like a law enforcer. He had already sentenced Su Yan. Without asking anything, he looked at Elder Liang and said, "Elder Liang, get the secret medicine. I think we should send someone to get it now. No matter what, we can't let Morlin go back like this." "No." To everyone's surprise, Elder Liang shook his head directly. "What did you say?" Tang Gaohong was stunned. He thought he had heard wrongly. They had already given Elder Liang face by not pursuing the matter with Gu Xinghuai. However, Elder Liang didn't give them any face at all. "No means no," Elder Liang said matter-of-factly. "The Academy does have that medicine, but it's very limited. Our alliance doesn't even have enough. How can we give it to the Western Alliance?" "Are you sure?" Tang Gaohong pointed at Elder Liang, not knowing what to say. "How dare you treat me like this? Let me tell you, the Alliance is very concerned about my situation. The War God has already come to seek justice for me." Morlin roared angrily. "I heard that the War God is furious and has already informed the higher-ups of the Huaxia Alliance. So what? We won't give it to you." Elder Liang was still smiling. "You? How dare you?" Morlin was so angry that his liver hurt. He had seen the hope of rising up. However, Elder Liang's reply made Morlin so angry that he spat out a mouthful of blood. He screamed, "Just you wait. The Western Alliance won't let you off." "Elder Liang, give me some face. Give me a copy." Tang Zipping frowned. "Sure," Elder Liang said to Su Yan, "ask him. If he agrees, the Academy can give him a copy." Tang Zipping was stunned. His pupils constricted. Was Elder Liang asking for Su Yan's opinion? He couldn't help but take this seriously. What was Su Yan's background? Why did he ask Su Yan to make such a decision? Could it be that he had access to rare resources from Huaxia University? "Ask him." Tang Gaohong exploded. "What do you mean, Elder Liang? Let a dead man make the decision? Even if this has nothing to do with the Western Alliance, he has crippled Tang Jierui. This matter can't be settled peacefully." Su Yan walked towards Tang Gaohong directly. This scene made Tang Gaohong laugh. "Why? Are you going to attack me?" Do you want me, a teacher from Huaxia University, to teach you how strong the Dharma plane divine powers are? Get over here. Su Yan waved at him. What can you do to me if I go over? Tang Gaohong walked towards Su Yan directly. He stood face to face with him and sneered. So you have Elder Liang behind you. However, the Tang family doesn't care about Elder Liang. Boom! Su Yan did not say a word and directly made his move. He formed a huge handprint and pressed forward in an overwhelming manner. You dare to attack me? You're the one who attacked first. Tang Gaohong immediately recovered and wanted to charge forward. However, a wisp of fear gushed out from his heart. This was because he realized that it was very difficult for him to move. His entire body was being pressed down, and Su Yan's palm that descended from the sky contained a wisp of ferocious aura that caused his hair to stand on end. Have mercy! At this moment, Tang Zipping was frightened. He was very close to Su Yan, but the moment Su Yan released his aura, Tang Zipping was terrified. His body was about to explode. Oh my God! The crowd was in an uproar. Tang Gaohong was killed by Su Yan. His entire body was torn apart and turned into a bloody mist in front of him. A Transcendence Realm expert was killed by Su Yan with a raise of his palm just like that. How is this possible? Everyone fell into fear. This was a Dharma plane expert. Even Gu Xinghuai was completely dumbfounded. He guessed that Su Yan was strong, but he couldn't be this strong. Could it be that this was a top Dharma plane expert, one of the Huaxia Alliance's gods of war? Boom! At this moment, in the distant world, one after another, huge battleships crossed the void and rushed towards the 9th base. It wasn't just one battleship, but a total of 5 battleships crossing the void. The 6 battleships of the Huaxia Alliance were all heading towards the 9th base. It's too late for the Huaxia Alliance to take this seriously. Morillon felt that this was the consequence of the Western Alliance's power. Otherwise, Huaxia University wouldn't have sailed 5 battleships to the 9th base. Tang Zipping frowned. He didn't think that Morillon's matter would alarm the higher-ups of Huaxia University. However, what happened next caused everyone to fall into a state of shock. Not only Huaxia University, but the Huaxia Business Alliance had also sailed 2 battleships. Even many famous families in the Huaxia Alliance had also sent battleships to the 9th base. The families that could control the battleships were all powerful families in the Huaxia Alliance. Chapter 673. The entire 9th base was filled with battleships, forming a dark mass in the sky above the base. What's going on? Why are there so many experts here? All the battleships of the Huaxia Alliance are here. All the residents were stunned. How could this happen? They felt that all the higher-ups of the Huaxia Alliance had come to the 9th base. This had never happened before. This person's identity must be very special. Some residents who witnessed the development of the situation were shocked because the battleships did not dare to approach Su Yan. They only stopped around him. People walked out of the battleships one after another with gloomy faces. They looked at Tang Zipping angrily. Were they going to make a fool of themselves in front of war god Su Yan? They had used their intelligence network to figure out the ins and outs of the situation. Su Yan was furious. In the Western Alliance, even a small Morillon dared to behave so atrociously in the Huaxia Alliance. They don't dare to go over. Who is this person? Many people were shocked. To be able to make the higher-ups of the Huaxia Alliance come and act so timidly, this young man's identity must be special. He must have terrifying charisma. Could he be one of the 10 war gods of the apocalyptic era? However, no matter how much they thought about it, they could not imagine that Su Yan, who had disappeared for more than 10 years, had really returned. It's over. What kind of enemy did these unfilial descendants of mine provoke? Tang Zipping could not stand steadily. His breathing was rapid and he felt suffocated. Although they had been through a lot, Tang Zipping knew that this time they had really hit a wall. This young man's identity made Lei Lao and Lu Qingtian come in person. Elder Liang was not surprised and only smiled. After all, there were many people he did not inform. Otherwise, it would cause an even bigger commotion. After all, before Su Yan and the others left, they said that they were going to a prosperous cultivation civilization in the universe. They had been gone for more than 10 years. Now that he had miraculously returned, who wouldn't be shocked? Lei Lao and the others wanted to know how Su Yan came back, what he encountered in the outer domain, and how prosperous the cultivation world in the universe was. The great commander is here. The Vajra battle god. That's the Vajra battle god. Even he's here. He's been exploring the various secret realms on Earth and rarely returns. The entire place erupted into commotion. Another battleship arrived, and from within rushed out an iron plank-like giant. His might was intimidating. Where is he? Elder Liang wouldn't lie to me. The fat man was clad in blood-red battle armor, and he reeked of blood. His gaze quickly locked onto Su Yan. He was like a great Vajra that rushed out. His entire body involuntarily emitted a strong and ferocious aura. The soldiers who had come with the Vajra battle god were dumbfounded. They had been excavating a mystic realm, but the Vajra battle god had given up everything to come to Base 9 just to meet this young man. They found it hard to believe. With how powerful the Vajra battle god was, how could he be so impatient? Seeing his old friend again, Su Yan was also full of smiles. Now, the fatty was already an expert at the peak of the Transcendence realm. He was one of the top experts on Earth. Su Yan could see that the fatty's body was brimming with energy and his foundation was relatively solid. Ha ha ha! The fatty let out a hysterical roar. When he saw Su Yan with his own eyes, he was sure that his good friend who had been away for more than 10 years had returned. So, Tang Zipping couldn't help but tremble. He finally realized who this young man was. He looked at the stone statue at the gate of the Snow Academy and felt a trace of fear in his heart. The #1 battle god on Earth, Su Yan, had returned to his hometown. However, the Tang family had repeatedly caused trouble for Su Yan. Tang Zipping's heart was filled with fear. He was really afraid that Su Yan would slaughter the entire Tang family in a fit of rage. Do you want to go back to the academy first? The door of Huaxia #1 battleship opened, and Lei Lao walked out. He didn't want the news of Su Yan's return to the outside world to leak out. Otherwise, the Western Alliance would definitely send a large number of experts because they also wanted to know what Su Yan had experienced in the outer realm. Gu Xinghuai was dumbfounded. Lei Lao was asking for his opinion. Let's go first. Su Yan patted the fatty's shoulder, and they walked towards Huaxia #1. Tang Zipping braced himself and wanted to say something, but no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't muster up the courage in his heart. Facing a legend like this gave him a headache. Tang Gaoi and the others were trembling. Tang Zipping didn't even have the courage to speak. Their hearts were filled with fear. Who was this young man? Who did the Tang family offend? Su Yan's deep eyes looked at Tang Zipping. His calm eyes made Tang Zipping feel a chill from head to toe. Tang Zipping felt a chill in his heart. His legs went soft and he was about to fall down. Humph, I'll deal with you later. The fatty looked at Tang Zipping coldly. They entered Huaxia #1 without looking back, and the battleship even sailed towards Huaxia University. Boom! Under the shocked gazes of the surrounding people, the battleships docked here all set off, and some even followed Huaxia #1. How could this be? The members of the Tang family were trembling. The big shots from Huaxia University and other forces didn't pay any attention to Tang Zipping. They didn't even ask about the Tang family's losses. Tang Zipping was the only one left on this street. The old man felt a deep sense of despair. The onlookers slapped their faces hard. They were really worried that they were dreaming. Even the old master of the Tang family was ignored. Was this still the dominating family of the 9th base? Send this bastard to the Hall of Penal Law of Huaxia University. Tang Ziping's uncontrollable voice exploded in Tang Jierui's ears. Tang Jierui trembled and wailed. He couldn't help but tremble when he recalled the appearance of the Vajra war god. Once a good-for-nothing like him fell into the hands of the Hall of Penal Law of Huaxia University, he wouldn't be able to survive. He knew that he was done for. He had stepped on an iron plate. His family couldn't protect him, and they were directly detained in the Hall of Penal Law. Even Tang Gaoi and the others were no exception. They were all detained and taken away by the Vajra Wargod's subordinates. The Hall of Penal Law of Huaxia University was led by the Vajra war god. It was obvious that they were going to hand them over to Su Yan for punishment. This is a bit ridiculous. What happened? Is that young man a war god? The crowd was in an uproar. Gu Xinghuai sucked in a breath of cold air. He couldn't believe the reversal of the situation. Even the Tang family didn't dare to punish him. They even sent him to the Hall of Criminal Law of Huaxia University. You will pay the price. I swear, the Huaxia Alliance will pay a heavy price. At the most depressing moment of Tang Ziping's life, Morlin let out a sad roar. He didn't expect to be treated like this. He originally thought that these people were there to help him, but the result was completely different from what he imagined. Throw him back to the Western Alliance and tell him to get lost. Tang Ziping roared angrily. His cold eyes looked at Morlin, and then at the terrified Tang Gaohong and the others. He smiled bitterly and said, "Even Zhu Yan was killed. The Tang family is nothing. I hope the war god Su Yan will forget about this as soon as possible." In Huaxia No. 1, Su Yan saw many old friends. Su Yan was very familiar with Lei Lao, Lu Qingtian, and the others. However, Su Yan didn't see Xia Zhe and the others. "You really came back. It really feels like a dream." "Ah." Lu Qingtian took a deep breath and looked at Su Yan for a while. Then, he laughed and said, "When old conscience told me, I couldn't believe it. It's been more than 10 years. How did you come back? Why didn't Yuan come with you?" Whether it was Su Yan, Yuan, or Tai Baokai, they often talked about it. However, this time, only Su Yan and Tai Baokai returned. "It's a long story. It's good to see you all safe and sound." Su Yan had a complicated feeling. He looked at the faces and asked, "Let's not talk about this first. What happened to the Huaxia Alliance? Why is the Western Alliance so restless? Also, where are Xia Zhe and the others?" "It's a long story." Lu Qingtian sighed, "But you came at the right time. Let me talk about it." The fat man's mood suddenly fell. He said, 5 years ago we found a battleship that could travel through the universe. At that time, Xia Zhe and the others had already reached the peak of the Transcendence realm. However, the Earth's Tao couldn't recover. They also wanted to travel through the universe. After all, their development on Earth was limited. Moreover, they already had the ability to travel through the universe. So, they drove the battleship into the universe. At first, they didn't dare to go too deep. They explored some ancient planets and found many rare metal veins. However, 2 years ago they traveled through the universe again. In the end, there was no news of them for 2 whole years. It had been 2 years. Lei Lao and the others were already prepared for the worst. However, the Western Alliance's rise was also very sudden. In recent years, they had been pressuring them step by step. The fat man already smelled danger. However, the Huaxia Alliance could be said to be strong on the outside but weak on the inside. This was because there were more than 10 peak Transcendence Realm experts that left, including dozens of Transcendence Realm experts. The Huaxia Alliance was like a weak tiger. Although there were still some experts, they couldn't face the Western Alliance's strong attitude. They had to be careful. However, the more they backed down, the more the Western Alliance wanted a yard. "So that's how it is." Su Yan's expression was serious. Things were getting troublesome. First of all, Xia Zhe's battleship couldn't fly out of the Milky Way. At most, they could stop at the edge of the Milky Way. After all, the Milky Way was full of space-time storms. If they really encountered a space-time storm, that would be the cruelest. It was very likely that they would all be wiped out. Of course, it was also very likely that they really encountered an accident. Perhaps they were opening a secret realm. However, no matter what, the danger was too high. 2 years had already passed. No matter what, Su Yan, now that you are here, I can relax. Lei Lao laughed and scolded. Xia Zhe and the others left cleanly. They left the whole mess to me. Back then, you also left to adventure. Now, Xia Zhe and the others are going to adventure too. As for us dealing with these things in Huaxia University all day, we might as well adventure in the universe. I didn't expect you to cultivate to this level, Lei Lao. Your control of the lightning Dao is already very strong. I hope this thing will be of help to you. Su Yan laughed. He took out a Lightning Dao Heavenly Skill Book and handed it to Lei Lao. This was something he had obtained from the legacy disciple of the Divine Firmament Star region. This. Chapter 674. Lu Qingtian and the others smiled but didn't say anything. They were well aware of the relationship between Lei Lao and Su Yan. Thinking back to Su Yan's rise, they couldn't help but sigh and laugh. Ha ha! Lei Lao also laughed. Then I won't hold back. He directly flipped open the Thunder Dao scripture. This scripture shone on its own and the divine light within was very dazzling. Lu Qingtian and the others narrowed their eyes and looked at the contents of this ancient scripture. However, they didn't expect it to chant on its own. The sound of the great Tao was transmitted and danced between heaven and earth like lightning, causing the void to emit a dull sound. This was the sound of scripture chanting, and was extremely spectacular. So mystical! Chanting scripture on its own? What scripture is this? The cultivators on the battleship were shocked because they couldn't help but feel a trace of shock in their hearts. This scripture was too powerful. Their blood and chi were all shaken by the sound of the scripture. Buzz. The ancient scripture shone resplendently and brightly. Moreover, the strange phenomenon of lightning flashing and thunder rumbling appeared within. It was as if a concentrated sea of lightning was awakening. All kinds of lightning characters emerged, and were reflected in the void for Elder Lei and the others to observe. Great Tao Scripture, this is the cultivation civilization of the outer realms. This scripture is very rare even in ancient ruins. The fatty's eyes turned red and he couldn't help but say, this thing was too precious. It was even an extremely valuable thunder art. Lei Lao studied it for a while and laughed uncontrollably. This thing was very helpful to him and contained a great divine ability. He felt as if he had obtained a priceless treasure. He felt that cultivating the scripture's contents would definitely increase his strength greatly. He might even have a chance to prove his Tao in the future. Su Yan, ha, you must have brought back a lot of good things, right? Lu Qingtian laughed and rubbed his hands. It was as if he had something or not. The people here were also envious. Su Yan had returned from the outer realms and must have brought back a lot of gift. Yes. Su Yan had brought back endless resources. His harvest in the Divine Mountain Range was huge. Many of the limited resources were difficult to buy at auctions. Of course, the most important thing was the various celestial arts, which were of great help to the Huaxia Alliance. They could enter the same level of development as the universe's powerful races. Pick a few of these pill furnaces. Su Yan immediately took out several dozen pill furnaces, as well as all kinds of pill recipes. Of course, there was no lack of spiritual medicines, and they were enough to fill the entire battleship. These things were useless to Su Yan, but even in the prosperous world of cultivation, they were considered a huge amount of wealth. This wealth referred to the pill recipes and pill furnaces. These things were really useless to Su Yan. Pinch me. Am I dreaming? Lu Qingtian's eyes were so red that they were about to turn purple. These pill furnaces were treasures in his heart. He had never even heard of many of the pill recipes. Pill recipes were equivalent to an alchemist's second life. Lu Qingtian fiercely slapped his stiff legs and couldn't stand up. The scene in front of him was really a huge treasure. He couldn't help but exclaim, "These things are the cultivation resources that Huaxia University desires the most. Oh my god, Su Yan, you're a tycoon now. This battle suit can definitely withstand the power of the peak of the Transcendence realm and not be destroyed." The fatty grinned foolishly. Su Yan had given him a divine battle suit, a cultivation technique that focused on the physical body. Su Yan smiled. Not to mention the Transcendence realm, even the Great Tao realm was extremely difficult to break through. He also felt that it was a pity that he had come in a hurry. Otherwise, he could have exchanged for a large number of resources, which would be of great help to Earth. In Huaxia Base 1, there was a lot of discussion. They were excited and moved. The things that Su Yan had brought back made them feel indescribable gratitude. After all, cultivation scriptures were the most important to them now. However, what Su Yan had brought back were the best of the best. The cultivators that he had killed in the divine spiritual mountain range all had powerful backgrounds. It was nothing for him to get some top scriptures. As they spoke, they had already arrived at Huaxia University. Huaxia University had also changed a lot. It was built on a celestial mountain and had boundless divine power. It could be called a paradise because this was the place where the ancestral veins of Earth gathered. Who came? Why did they alert the higher-ups of the Huaxia Alliance? The students of Huaxia University were also very curious. Many battleships directly crossed into the school and even entered the forbidden area. Many disciples stared and didn't know what had happened at Base 9. However, the battleships that followed were directly stopped by Lu Qingtian. He had important things to do now and didn't have time to discuss other things. He asked them to return first and discuss other things later. Celestial Mountain. The forbidden area of Huaxia University, or more accurately, the Celestial Mountain. It was also the dojo that Zhu Yan had opened here. The entire dojo was a paradise with all kinds of treasured herbs and peerless rice that could increase one's strength. Su Yan's eyes were looking at the silent snow mountain. He recalled many things in the past. This snow mountain could be said to be the beginning of Earth's civilization. Everything started with the opening of the blood-red dragon coffin. He couldn't forget what he had experienced back then. This was one of the 9 celestial mountains. Su Yan guessed that this was a mountain that focused on the physical body. It was different from the Heavenly Mountain and the Great Tao Mountain. It hid the progenitor, or even the entire burial realm's greatest wealth. Su Yan wanted to go in and take a look, but then he shook his head. Now wasn't the time. He would go in and take a look in the future. In particular, he really wanted to know what was hidden in the heavenly coffin. The thing that the Ancestral Hall has been spying on is right under my nose. I don't even know its value. I wonder if the Ancestral Hall found the powerhouse whose primordial spirit was still alive when the Ancestral Hall met with an accident? Or did he die in an accident? No matter what, I have to make all the preparations in the next few years. Su Yan thought to himself. The Ancestral Hall wasn't after the Celestial Mountain, but the blood-red dragon coffin in the Celestial Mountain. That was the origin of the progenitor's journey into the divine devil civilization. It was also the source of the calamity that would befall the future progenitor. Now, in the Huaxia Alliance, some small circles were not peaceful. The old powerhouses of various races gathered together to discuss. The news about Su Yan's reappearance had already spread in the small circles, but it wasn't completely publicized. The big shots of the Huaxia Alliance are finally going to make a move. I heard that they're going to observe the Western Alliance's next move. Morland's matter will definitely test the Western Alliance's strength. Since the number 1 war god has returned, it definitely won't be an ordinary move. He'll definitely make a move. But according to my understanding, the Western Alliance has 10 peak Transcendence realm powerhouses. I wonder how strong the number 1 war god is now? We don't need to question how strong the number one war god is. No matter what, with the return of the war god Su Yan, my heart is at ease. They discussed excitedly. With Su Yan in the Huaxia Alliance, there was no need to continue lowering their heads to the Western Alliance. As for Morlin, he was tragically thrown back to the Western Alliance. Many people had a feeling that this matter wouldn't end peacefully. However, after Morlin returned to the Western Alliance, the commotion caused by the entire alliance was many times more shocking than Lei Lao and the others had imagined. Now, the upper echelons of the Western Alliance were really angry. Morlin's matter had completely infuriated them. A genius had been crippled. The four alliances that had been spying on the Huaxia Alliance couldn't wait to kill their way into the Huaxia Alliance. The genius of our alliance was treated unfairly in the Huaxia Alliance. His cultivation was even crippled. He's Morlin. A war god stood out and angrily announced, "What do you think we should do about this? Can the Western Alliance allow the Huaxia Alliance to bully us? I know Morlin. He's a genius of our alliance. He's actually crippled. Moreover, the Huaxia Alliance doesn't agree to treat him. Morlin has already missed the best treatment time. He could die at any moment. We must make them hand over the culprit and even increase the price of the secret medicine to treat Morlin by 10 times. Divine Forest Island must belong to the Western Alliance." That's right. Directly talk to the Huaxia Alliance and make them agree to the terms of peace within 3 days. Otherwise, the Western Alliance will punish the Huaxia Alliance. Many war gods walked out and said coldly. The Western Alliance was very confident. That night, the news exploded and caused a huge commotion in the Huaxia Alliance. This was an extremely unfair treaty. However, the Western Alliance had said that if they didn't reply within 3 days, they would bear the consequences. Some Western Alliance members even said that they wanted the Huaxia Alliance to cede a base for them to use. This was the only way to appease the Western Alliance's anger. The overseas resources were currently an important area for the Huaxia Alliance to develop. The news of Divine Forest Island had already spread to the various schools and families of the Huaxia Alliance. It was said that Lu Qingtian would open a dojo on Divine Forest Island to promote the art of alchemy. Who didn't know about Lu Qingtian? His students were all over the world, and he had made great contributions to the Huaxia Alliance. Even one of his disciples, Lin Wanlan, was about to become a level 5 alchemist. Using Divine Forest Island's rich resources, they could refine many pills that could increase their strength. They could also use this opportunity to cultivate a group of alchemists. When this island was discovered, it caused quite a commotion. However, the Western Alliance wanted to use Morlin's matter to get their hands on Divine Forest Island. The Western Alliance even wanted them to cede a base. Although it wasn't a direct condition, this news was enough to make the Huaxia Alliance furious. This was blatantly looking down on the Huaxia Alliance. They were blatantly robbing them of their resources. It was the same as cutting off the Huaxia Alliance's flesh. These foreign devils are too much. We can't give them Divine Forest Island and they still want a base? Are these bastards crazy? They must be dreaming. A young man shouted angrily. F***ck, they're too delusional. I've heard about Morlin. He dared to humiliate our Huaxia University's #1 war god. He's lucky that we didn't kill him. The Western Alliance's people are ungrateful. They're the descendants of gods Baokai. How dare they force us to sell them? How preposterous. If we don't kill them, they'll be riding on our heads in the future. Chapter 675. Sure enough, the Western Alliance is getting restless. They can't wait to make their move. The changes in the academy made the fatty laugh coldly. These ungrateful bastards, why didn't I notice their wild ambitions in the past? They even want to encroach on our Huaxia Alliance's territory. The Western Alliance. Su Yan snorted. Looks like they're quite confident. I found some good seedlings in the school. Most of them are in the Taoist and transcendent realms. They still need a long time to grow. Su Yan scanned Huaxia University with his divine sense. In the process, he saw many students with strong bloodlines. He was very satisfied. Perhaps in the future, the progenitor could become a young overlord. However, they had to undergo systematic training. Earth's foundation was too weak now. It was imperative to explore the universe and develop the resources of the surrounding planets. According to the Fatty, the strongest training ground had nurtured many young geniuses for the Huaxia Alliance, and a large portion of them were cultivating in the strongest training ground. Among them, there were many talented students who were worth paying a huge price to nurture. However, it was a pity that the strength of the younger generation couldn't catch up with the older generation. After all, they had only been growing for a dozen years. They weren't strong enough to face the current crisis of Huaxia University. If they were given another 10 or 20 years, they might be able to surpass Xia Zhe and the rest of the older generation. By the way, Su Yan, what should we do? Fatty hesitated for a while and said, should we go to the universe and search for traces of Xia Zhe and the others? It has been 2 years. I'm really worried that they might have met with misfortune and danger. I really don't know what the situation is like now. I really want to go to the universe and search for traces of them. If it wasn't for the Western Alliance, we would have set off long ago. Su Yan was silent for a while. He said, it will take a lot of time to find them in the universe. I have to make some preparations. You go home first. We should be there in 2 days. He was going to use the yin-yang compass to try to calculate their whereabouts. He knew that this was relatively difficult. After all, Xia Zhe and the others were in the universe, and with Su Yan's cultivation, it was extremely difficult to find their life traces in the star field. It would take a lot of effort. Fortunately, Su Yan's primordial spirit was strong enough to withstand the wear and tear. It was worth a try. As long as they could lock onto the general direction of their life footprints, they could save a lot of searching time. All right, I'm relieved that you've made your decision. Now that you're here, my heart is at ease. Ha! The Fatty laughed out loud. He didn't stay any longer. He pushed open the door and walked out to stretch his body. After laughing, a strange look flashed across his eyes. This was because he saw a woman in black standing in front of him. If her suitors knew about this, I wonder how many of them would be heartbroken. When the Fatty saw the appearance of the person who came, he chuckled in his heart and also disappeared into the night. This was an important area of Huaxia University. To be precise, it was built near the Immortal Mountain. Very few people were qualified to enter this place. Su Yan wasn't going to enter the Immortal Mountain now. After all, time was limited. He couldn't waste it on cultivation now. There were still a lot of things waiting for him. The night was hazy and the world was silent. The woman in black stood in the darkness and quietly walked over. Under the cover of the moonlight, she exuded a mature and charming temperament. Because she had been in a high position for a long time, she couldn't help but exude a noble aura. Creak! She pushed open the door and walked in. Her eyes were fixed on Su Yan, who was fiddling with the yin-yang compass. Menjing! Su Yan was stunned. He suddenly stood up and looked at the charming woman at the door. He said in surprise, "Haha, after so many years, Menjing, you've become a great beauty. I almost misjudged you." Su Yan, by Menjing, couldn't hold it in. Her eyes were filled with tears, and she lost control of her emotions. Sometimes, she missed Su Yan very much. She often looked at the starry sky in a daze. She really didn't know if the man who left back then would return from the other side of the starry sky. Bai Menjing threw herself into Su Yan's arms. Su Yan couldn't help but hug her. Bai Menjing's skin was snow-white, and her figure was very voluptuous. No, it should be described as voluptuous. He couldn't help but get lost in it. He wanted to explore the mysteries next. Bai Menjing was like a ripe peach. Her red lips were bright, and her eyes were intoxicated. She raised her mature and charming face and looked at Su Yan. You've changed too. I almost didn't recognize you just now. You have also transformed into a great beauty. Su Yan sized her up for a while and said with a chuckle, You have really surprised me. It's been more than 10 years. I didn't expect to meet under such circumstances. Su Yan sighed again. You left in a hurry back then, and now you're back in a hurry. How have you been all these years? I'm fine. There's no danger on Earth. You must have experienced a lot, right? It's good that you're back now. Bai Menjing nodded. A smile bloomed on her face again. She chuckled and said, Are you still leaving this time? Hearing this, Su Yan was silent. He said to Bai Menjing, Something might happen on Earth in the future. I want to leave, but I'm afraid I can't. What's wrong? Bai Menjing's expression changed slightly. She frowned and said, Is it because of war god Xia Zhe and the others? I don't know what dangers they encountered during their travels in the universe, but don't worry. With their strength, there shouldn't be any accidents. This is just a small matter. Su Yan couldn't help but reach out his palm and rub Bai Menjing's head. He said, As long as the future is smooth, it's a good thing. Earth will be safe. Su Yan took out some treasures and gave them to Bai Menjing. Su Yan was prepared to choose some people to help him spread the Tao to the Huaxia alliance. After all, it would be difficult for the progenitor to avoid war in the future. However, if Earth wanted to be strong, awakening the Great Tao was essential. As for the problem of Earth's recovery Great Tao, it was imminent. Su Yan was prepared to go to the strongest trial to find the answer. If Earth wanted to grow and give birth to the Great Tao, the environment of Earth in the future would definitely be very powerful. Moreover, Su Yan also wanted to become the supreme of Earth's star domain and obtain the Great Tao imprint of the planet. Therefore, the premise was that Earth must awaken its Great Tao. Damn it, the Western Alliance is going too far. Lei Lao rushed over with a murderous aura. He was comprehending the cultivation method that Su Yan had given him. In the end, the news of the peace negotiations from the Western Alliance made Lei Lao so angry that his nose almost became crooked. They were so aggressive again and again. Did the Western Alliance really have the strength to attack the Huaxia Alliance? Noticing Bai Menjing standing in the room, Lei Lao scratched his head. The old man felt very awkward and felt that he had come at the wrong time. You guys chat first. Bai Menjing smiled and stood up to leave. Su Yan directly said to Lei Lao, I know about this. Don't worry. Let's see what they want to do. If I'm not wrong, the Western Alliance has someone backing them. Let's wait for them to surface. I'm too lazy to look for them now. I understand. Lei Lao pondered over Su Yan's words for a while. His expression was extremely ugly. Could there be aliens? Su Yan did not know if his speculation was accurate. If aliens really came to Earth's surroundings, he would not be surprised. After all, Zhu Yen or Bamboo Moon had also come by accident. The space-time seal of the Milky Way galaxy had declined to the extreme. Su Yen estimated that Earth was about to be born. Su Yen sealed the room and entered a state of seclusion. He calmly calculated the life traces of Bing Shuang. His primordial spirit directly left his body and released his search divine sense. He began to explore the outer regions of Earth. After this night, the Huaxia Alliance was silent in anger. This ancient lion was emitting flames of anger. He felt that the peace negotiations from the Western Alliance were too ridiculous. Divine Forest Island was near the Huaxia Alliance's sea area. However, after one night the world turned upside down. The Western Alliance actually increased the price. The Huaxia Alliance is too disrespectful to the Western Alliance. Morland's life is in danger, but the Huaxia Alliance did not say a word. You did not even express your sympathy to Morland. What do you take the Western Alliance for? We must double the peace terms. The arrogant Huaxia Alliance will pay a heavy price for this. The Western Alliance's war god stood up and said, He wanted to teach the Huaxia Alliance a lesson. That's right. We must double it. It's already the second day. Huaxia Alliance, I hope you won't destroy the friendship between our two alliances. It's not too late to hand over the murderer or the corpse. I want to see the Huaxia Alliance's attitude. We will stop doubling the terms. The news spread across the ocean, causing the entire Huaxia Alliance to be enraged. It was clear that Morilon was the one who started the trouble and even spoke rudely to war god Su Yan. Why was the Western Alliance the victim now? We won't call anyone. Isn't the Western Alliance awesome? If you have the ability, come and attack us. Many people were angry. This was a blatant robbery. They would never agree to such ridiculous terms. Moreover, the Huaxia Alliance's cultivators were often treated unfairly by the Western Alliance. They should be the ones to protest. That's strange. Why are the old men so calm this time when news of this matter has spread? They would have already cursed before. Why are they all smiling as if nothing has happened? What's the meaning of this? Are we here to worry for nothing? Some Huaxia University students were very surprised. The Western Alliance's terms were getting more and more ridiculous, but the university didn't seem to be doing anything. Some students even thought that Lei Lao had admitted defeat. They were preparing to negotiate with the Western Alliance in private. I heard that our Huaxia Alliance's stabilizing force has returned. The news caused an uproar. Stabilizing force? They were all wondering if war god Xiaze had returned. Perhaps other war gods had returned. Some of the Huaxia Alliance's top cultivators had been missing for many years. But if they had returned, the Huaxia Alliance would definitely have the confidence to fight against the Western Alliance. Time passed slowly. It continued until nighttime. Some people could vaguely see a storm sweeping across the ocean. A group of war gods from the Western Alliance gathered together. Their faces were gloomy. A war god sneered, "Huaxia Alliance, the ancient East. What a beautiful country it is. It's vast and rich in resources. A long time ago, we formed an alliance and attacked the East. We returned with great gains. Since the Huaxia Alliance doesn't listen to us, it's time to act. We should imitate our ancestors and form an Eastern punitive expedition. We should make the lion that is the Huaxia Alliance submit to us and tremble." Chapter 676. Huaxia University was the core of the Huaxia Alliance. On this day, Lei Lao sent out an emergency order to gather all the Transcendence Realm experts in the Huaxia Alliance to discuss important matters. The Western Alliance is getting restless. They are eyeing the resource islands of the Huaxia Alliance. We can't let them get what they want. Otherwise, the Huaxia Alliance will be at the mercy of the Western Alliance in the future. The Huaxia Business Alliance was the first to express their stance. Yuan Hong was one of the stabilizers. He was one of the 10 war gods who had survived the apocalypse. The dormant blood in his body was burning. He said coldly, "I don't believe that the Western Alliance can produce dozens of top experts. But the current situation is that the Western Alliance already has 10 top experts on the surface." Someone in the Transcendence Realm frowned and said, "With the current number of experts in the Huaxia Alliance, it will be difficult for us to compete with the Western Alliance. Once we fight, they will test our strength. But if we retreat, the Western Alliance's conditions were too excessive. They couldn't accept it." "Lei Lao, when will Xia Zhe and the others return?" someone asked worriedly. They were adventuring in the universe. Did something really happen? If the top experts of the Huaxia Alliance can't return now, it will be too dangerous for us to clash with the Western Alliance. I've already sent people to look for them. Don't worry. Their lives are not in danger. A smile appeared on Old Lei's face. Today, I've gathered all of you here not only for the matter of the Western Alliance, but also for an important announcement. The number 1 war god of the Huaxia Alliance, Su Yan. Lei Lao laughed. He has returned to Earth. He is currently in Huaxia University. What? War god Su Yan has returned. Oh my god, am I dreaming? Su Yen has returned. Where is he? I want to see War God Su Yen. War God Su Yen, the one who destroyed the Alliance's conspiracy back then, War God Su Yen. The entire place was in an uproar. Many old fellows almost jumped up as they discussed excitedly. They could not forget the battle more than 10 years ago. Su Yen had turned the tide with a peerless attitude, defeated the alien invasion, and even destroyed Zhu Yan's conspiracy. That was an unforgettable history. Even though Su Yen had disappeared for more than 10 years, it was still unforgettable. There was a lot of discussion in the meeting room. There were more than 200 Transcendence Realm experts gathered here, and they came from various forces on Earth. It could be said that the entire upper echelon of the Huaxia Alliance had gathered here. Su Yan's appearance was like a bomb, causing the meeting room to be completely chaotic. Since Battle God Su Yen is here, why didn't he attend the meeting? Suddenly, a man with a chiseled face spoke up. He looked extremely young, but his aura was powerful. His body was filled with an abnormally turbulent blood essence energy, causing some veteran experts to feel suffocated. The meeting room suddenly fell silent, and all eyes were focused on Hyanja. He was a genius who had performed amazingly in the strongest trial. He had even obtained a fortuitous encounter, and his cultivation was almost at the peak of the Transcendence Realm. He was about to surpass Lei Lao and the others. Battle God Su Yen is currently dealing with an urgent matter, Lei Lao replied. Hearing this, Hyanja snorted coldly and said, The Huaxia Alliance is already at the point of life and death. What could be more important than this? I heard that last night. He looked at the woman he had always admired, Bai Menjing. Whether it was Bai Menjing, Hyanja, or the Diamond Battle God, they were all the new forces of the Huaxia Alliance. Hyanja loved Bai Menjing very much and had been pursuing her crazily. Unfortunately, Bai Menjing had always been indifferent to him. However, he knew that Bai Menjing had gone to find Su Yen last night. This made Hyanja's heart burn with anger. What are you trying to say? Bai Menjing was wearing a long black dress, and her breath was like orchids. She had experienced a lot of ups and downs more than 10 years ago. She was no longer the weak woman from back then. Instead, she was a strong woman who controlled a family. The atmosphere in the meeting hall was a little strange. After all, Su Yen was a legend. His private affairs had been widely spread among the people. They still remembered the grudges between Lei Lao, Tingyingjie, and Su Yen. In the end, Hyanja held back and did not speak. He sneered and said, Even if Battle God Su Yen returns, can he fight against 10 people alone? I think you guys worship Su Yen too much. You should be prepared for the worst instead of placing your hopes on one person. After all, this concerns the survival of our alliance. What reason do you have to suspect Battle God Su Yen? Bai Menjing was like a tiger whose tail had been stepped on. She scolded angrily. The cave abode you're cultivating in now was built by Battle God Su Yen. All the formation masters in the entire Huaxia Alliance are disciples of Battle God Su Yen. That's right. The 3 formation masters stood up and glared at Hyanja. They felt that Hyanja's words were a little too much. I don't doubt the strength of Battle God Su Yen. Hyanja frowned and said, he should stand up for this meeting. After all, he was the cause of this matter. Kid, you're going too far. Why does Battle God Su Yen have to stand up and apologize to the Western Alliance? The fatty was unhappy. He stood up abruptly and released a powerful pressure from his body. The word brat made Hyanja fly into a rage. He suddenly stood up, and his entire body rippled with a powerful aura. The power of the bloodline in his body rumbled. The power of his blood essence was extremely powerful, and a vague yet magnificent figure faintly appeared behind him. Lei Lao was shocked. Hyanja had obtained a great opportunity and dug out the bloodline in his body. Now, it seemed that it was no small matter. Are you itching for a beating? Are you trying to show off? The fatty sneered. His aura suddenly surged. His fat body hid a vigorous source of energy. It was like a hibernating furnace of blood and chi. The fatty's bloodline was also very powerful. It burned fiercely. A sea of blood faintly appeared behind him. It was going to turn into a celestial phenomenon. The two of them were the few young experts in the Huaxia Alliance. However, what made them pale was that the fatty's aura surged again. His body was like a divine pagoda, and blazing light overflowed in all directions. Hyanja turned pale. The Vajra battle god's strength surged and was about to suppress him. Lei Lao knew that this was because of the thing Su Yan took out. Moreover, if the fatty was given some time, his strength would become even stronger. Enough! Yuan Hong's face sank. He scolded, "If you have the strength, leave it for me to fight on the battlefield. Are you trying to be a hero here? What kind of hero are you?" The fatty and Hyanja's aura quickly retracted. No matter what, Yuan Hong had the greatest prestige in the field. Even Lei Lao had to lower his head in front of him. After all, he was one of the oldest 10 war gods. Moreover, at this juncture, the fatty didn't want to deal with Hyanja. This was just a small interlude. No matter what, the catastrophe was coming. The Huaxia Alliance had been peaceful for more than 10 years. What would come would eventually come. They had made comprehensive preparations. Earth, Su Yan's place of seclusion, had been listed as a forbidden area. With the blockade set up by Su Yan, no one could force their way in. Su Yan's physical body sat cross-legged in the room. His primordial spirit left his body and roamed the void. When he rushed out of Earth, he could feel the pressure in the universe. However, because of the uniqueness of Earth, the unique pressure in the universe couldn't penetrate. This is a pattern. It can be broken, Su Yan secretly said in his heart. This was the pressure from the universe. Once it was broken, the power of the universe would attack Earth. At that time, everyone would be attacked. However, just like the cruel training that Su Yan endured when he came to Alcade City, Earth would also use this pressure to strengthen everyone. However, the premise was that resources were needed. This was also a relatively cruel training. Su Yan's mind roamed the void. His primordial spirit was like a golden god. He looked at the surrounding starry sky and observed the pattern of heaven and earth. Faintly, Su Yan's expression changed. He found that there was a very majestic and vast domain space around Earth. It was revolving around Earth. This was a heavenly method. It changed the environment here. It required a special password to open the power of the domain space. It was enough to fight against foreign enemies. This is the foundation of the back progenitor. Su Yan was secretly shocked. Even someone as strong as him found it difficult to see the clues. He could only see that the pattern was extremely grand. He couldn't understand the specific operating pattern. However, although Earth was guarded by such a pattern and could resist foreign enemies, it also gave Su Yan a huge problem. He originally wanted to move Earth, but now this idea had fallen through. Earth was enveloped by the pattern, and those who acted rashly would die. How powerful can the space-time domain resist? Su Yan pondered. He couldn't see through the pattern and naturally couldn't understand how powerful it was. However, Su Yan felt that even if the Divine King came, he couldn't attack Earth. That was because this space-time domain was quite terrifying and grand. Su Yan's primordial spirit continued to expand and search the surroundings. He calculated some traces of life on the surrounding planet. These traces were left by living creatures and were not very old. With Su Yan's strange methods, he could observe these traces of life. In the end, he was delighted because Su Yan sensed a familiar aura. It was the aura of an old friend who had left Earth for the universe. It was still drifting in space and Su Yan keenly captured it. Their traces were all over the surrounding planet. This made it more difficult for Su Yan to search. Fortunately, his primordial spirit was strong enough. Otherwise, it would be difficult to complete this vast project. He followed the traces of life and searched. In the process, he constantly observed the pattern around the area. Su Yan was very shocked. The more he looked, the more he felt that this pattern was special and terrifying. He couldn't find the source, and the area it covered was difficult to estimate. The surrounding planets of Earth also produced some mineral resources. In the future, when Earth is strong enough, we can search for resources in the star system. There are traces of battle here. Did Frost and the others encounter enemies? Does the Western Alliance also have the ability to cross the universe? At this moment, Su Yan continued to follow a path. He was sure that Xia Zhe and the others had followed this path to enter the universe. Because Su Yan had searched the other stars, they didn't go deeper into the universe along other paths. Of course, Su Yan's primordial spirit operated to the extreme, but it was still difficult to continue to expand in the starry sky. The deeper he explored, the more frightened Su Yan was. Did they really encounter enemies? This place was very far from Earth. If they didn't have enough resources, even with the universe battleship, it would be difficult to return to Earth. Xia Zhe and the others must have thought of this. Wait for me. I'll find you soon. Chapter 677. Boom! The universe resonated and resonated with the Tao. This was the sound of the Tao. It was like the beginning of the chaos and the beginning of all living things. Every syllable was grand and ear-splitting. It spread far and wide and resounded continuously in the cold and lonely universe. For a moment, thousands of Taos shone and purple clouds came from the east. This was an anomaly, an auspicious anomaly. Earth seemed to have turned into a living being and released light that illuminated the universe. It was like a seed that grew rapidly and eventually turned into a great world that pierced through the heavens. Auspicious signs from the heavens. All the residents of Earth were alarmed by this anomaly. Purple clouds came from the east and thousands of Taos resonated with each other. It was extremely sacred. Among the auspicious signs, golden lotuses of the great Tao were everywhere. Although they looked blurry, they were all about to turn into reality. This was an extremely ancient power that was about to spread and cover the entire Earth. This was the divine light of the great Tao that surged from within Earth. It was extremely majestic and vast and filled the entire Earth. Oh my God, could Earth be? Lei Lao and the others readied their troops and prepared to go to Divine Forest Island. But now, the sudden changes on Earth made them feel that Earth was about to welcome a terrifying awakening. It was about to become a high-level ancient planet that would give birth to the profound meaning of the great Tao. This was the evolution of the rules and the transformation of the great Tao. This indicated that Earth would become a resplendent new star that would slowly rise in the universe. The entire Huaxia Alliance was in an uproar. The top experts of Earth had been looking forward to the next awakening for many years. Now that Earth was showing signs of awakening again, how could they not be excited? The fatty was suspicious. Su Yan had just arrived and this was happening on Earth. Could Earth's awakening have something to do with Su Yan? In any case, Earth's next awakening was too important. It would indicate that Earth could produce a universe overlord. In the future, they would also have the ability to traverse the universe, search for treasures, and roam the void. Life on Earth would spread across the surrounding galaxies. One day, they might spread across the entire solar system and even further. Do you see this? Auspicious signs from the heavens. Even the great gods of the divine temple are helping us. This indicates that we will return victorious in this battle. But in the Western Alliance, cold killing intent rippled. One after another, powerful gods of war walked out, emitting powerful battle intent. Today, the Western Alliance announced that Morlun was dead. The arrogant Huaxia Alliance will pay the price. Our Western Alliance's geniuses have died because of them. A Western Alliance war god with a powerful aura appeared. His thick golden hair danced in the wind as he held a war spear and said coldly, "But they don't even want to hand over the culprit. Since the Huaxia Alliance doesn't want to convict him, Then the Western Alliance will uphold justice for Morlun and suppress the Huaxia Alliance. Its war god Rhodes. In the holy city of the Western Alliance, the appearance of this man made the residents of the Western Alliance excited. Although Rhodes was the second war god of the Western Alliance, his prestige wasn't inferior to the first war god. What? Morlun is dead. The Holy City was a city with the same weight as Huaxia City in the Western Alliance. It was the gathering place of the bigwigs in the Western Alliance. Rhodes's words made the residents of the city furious. Many of them thought that they should form an army and attack the Huaxia Alliance to teach them a cruel lesson and let them pay the price for their arrogance. Only those who knew the inside story knew that Morlun was killed by Rhodes. This made the war gods of the Western Alliance furious. Some even knelt on the ground and shouted, "The great war god Rhodes, conquer the Huaxia Alliance and cleanse the world of evil. Let this arrogant country pay a heavy price. Morlun's sin is too great to be forgiven by the gods. Then I will lead a group of warriors to conquer the Huaxia Alliance and crush this alliance." Rhodes said coldly, "Warriors, come with me. Today's auspicious signs indicate that the gods are supporting us. We must conquer the Huaxia Alliance. Conquer the Huaxia Alliance and punish the evil. Burn the filth of the world and conquer the Huaxia Alliance." The Western Alliance was in an uproar. A group of powerful war gods began to cross the ocean and rush to the Eastern Alliance. This was the first time that two alliances had a direct confrontation since the end of the Earth more than 100 years ago. The war began just like that. The auspicious signs of the Earth only lasted for a short while before it disappeared completely. The source of all this came from Su Yan. He had already woken up. When he faced the Earth just now, the Origin Sutra began to chant uncontrollably. Su Yan's primordial spirit was about to merge with the Earth. Su Yan fell into deep thought. His primordial spirit glowed and surged with Tao sounds. When he looked at the Earth just now, the Earth triggered the Origin Sutra in his body to circulate on its own. This allowed Su Yan to gain a lot. Just now, he had a feeling of enlightenment on the spot and proving the Tao. Is this the guidance of the Earth to me? The Earth seems to have its own will. I really don't know if the Earth used to be extremely prosperous or because of some special reason that made the Earth's foundation so extraordinary. There's one more thing. The Earth's awakening has a lot to do with the Origin Sutra. After a long time, Su Yan slowly regained his senses. He muttered to himself in his heart. There was no doubt that the Earth needed a key to awaken. This key was related to Su Yan. He had to use the Origin Sutra to open up the Earth's current Tao foundation and allow the Earth to evolve. This day was too important. Everyone was looking forward to it. Once it arrived, it would indicate that the Earth had the ability to step into the starry sky. The Origin Sutra. It seems like everything is related to the Mother Sutra. When this is over, I'll study the Origin Sutra quietly and open up the Earth's Tao foundation as soon as possible, Su Yan muttered in his heart. His primordial spirit began to return to his body. When it returned to Su Yan's body, he felt weak. His spirit was severely damaged. The golden primordial spirit sat cross-legged between his eyebrows and began to absorb the energy between heaven and earth on its own to slowly recover. Buzz! Su Yan's eyes suddenly opened. The divine light in his eyes flourished. His body, which had been silent for 3 days, began to surge with vitality. After his primordial spirit returned, Su Yan quietly sensed. He felt that he had a connection with the Earth because of the Origin Sutra. He felt that the Earth's shackles had loosened a little. This made Su Yan very satisfied. The Earth had risen very quickly. Why did it take so long for your primordial spirit to return? Have you found them? Baokai was guarding Su Yan here. It was very dangerous for one's primordial spirit to leave the body. If someone deliberately targeted Su Yan, the situation would be very unfavorable for Su Yan. After all, it was impossible for his primordial spirit to return in a short time. It's about time. Su Yen nodded. He stood up and said, with our strength, it's not difficult for us to traverse the universe with our physical bodies. I hope the destination is not too far away. Otherwise, returning will be a big problem. As long as they don't leave the solar system, it won't be difficult for us to find them. I'm just afraid that if they are too far away, it will take a long time. Baokai also nodded. If there was no battleship in the universe, even gods would encounter a test of death. Then, Baokai told Su Yan about the auspicious event that had happened on Earth. This made Su Yan's expression change. He hadn't expected the impact to be so great. The Earth had shown signs of evolution because of the Origin Sutra. I feel that the great Tao imprint of the Earth is extremely strong. If you can become the supreme being of the star domain, you will definitely be amazing. Baokai smacked its lips. It no longer needed the great Tao imprint. It was about to comprehend the 9th imprint on the banners of demons and reach perfection in the great Tao realm. Now, the Earth was facing the danger of collapse at any time. If Su Yan could control the origin power of the Earth, it would be of great help to the upcoming calamity. I hope so. Su Yan was also secretly looking forward to it. They pushed open the door and walked out. Su Yan looked at the entire Huaxia University and realized that more than half of the vitality in Huaxia University had dissipated. The remaining students were relatively weak. This was a sign that a large number of experts had left. The experts in the college have all left. The war is really coming. Su Yan's eyes flashed with a trace of coldness. If the Western Alliance really dared to kill the Huaxia Alliance, he wouldn't mind eliminating the upper echelons of the Western Alliance. The Western Alliance is directly attacking Divine Forest Island. It's said that the Western Alliance has sent many war gods, and the number of peak transcendence realm experts far surpasses ours. Damn it, war god Xia Zhe and the others aren't here. Now that the Western Alliance is attacking, it's very disadvantageous for the Huaxia Alliance. Damn it, I'm too weak. I can't participate in the war. I really don't know what's going on at the front lines. I hope they can hold on. The students of Huaxia University discussed spiritedly. Their words were filled with worry. The Western Alliance was too decisive, attacking as soon as they said they would. This meant that they had shocking confidence. Otherwise, they wouldn't dare to start a war of this level. They're really here. Let's go and take a look at Divine Forest Island. Su Yan's figure also disappeared. He used spatial contraction to cross the border and rushed towards the ocean. Right now, this coastal city was filled with a desolate aura. This was because Divine Forest Island was only 3,000 miles away from land. With the current cultivation level of Earth, 3,000 miles wasn't far at all. If a battleship crossed the ocean, it would only take half an incense stick's worth of time to arrive. If the Western Alliance really attacked the Huaxia Alliance, they would definitely take down Divine Forest Island immediately. After all, it would be extremely fast to enter the Huaxia Alliance from Divine Forest Island. Once Divine Forest Island was lost, it would be like a thorn piercing into the heart of the Huaxia Alliance. The Huaxia Alliance could launch a thunderous attack at any time. Shouts of killing could be heard in the ocean. The battle was extremely intense and cruel. The seawater around Divine Forest Island was dyed red with blood. Moreover, corpses were constantly falling into the ocean. The entire Divine Forest Island was engulfed in an energy storm. Violent collisions shook the heavens, causing huge waves to form on the surface of the ocean. War God Rhodes is invincible. Invincible! The experts from the Western Alliance shouted excitedly. Rhodes's thick golden hair danced in the wind. An abnormally powerful aura emanated from his body. It was a dark substance that stimulated his body's combat power. You can't do it. The 10 war gods of the Huaxia Alliance are only SOSO. Even if the number 1 war god Su Yan came, there would be no need for the #1 war god of the Western Alliance to act. I alone would be enough to defeat all of you. Rhodes smiled cruelly. The terrifying dark energy in his body gave him absolute confidence. He had the confidence to defeat the 10 great masters of the Huaxia Alliance. Arrogant bastard! Yuan Hong's expression was extremely ugly. Rhodes was like a ferocious beast. He actually couldn't shake Rhodes at all. They were all at the peak of the Transcendence realm. This made his heart tremble. Was this where the Western Alliance's confidence came from? This isn't arrogance. This is a symbol of strength. The Eastern Punitive Expedition will sweep through the Huaxia Alliance today. Chapter 678. Rhodes' words ignited the greed in the hearts of the Western Alliance's experts. The Huaxia Alliance was vast and rich in resources. Many of the male soldiers, especially, had images of Eastern beauties appear in their minds. They all laughed proudly, "It's all ours." At this moment, they all had the mentality of enslaving the Huaxia Alliance. This was the mentality that strength gave them. They couldn't help but have a strong sense of greed. Damn it, kill them! At this moment, Divine Forest Island was filled with raging flames. The soldiers who were fighting on Divine Forest Island were furious to the extreme. Their eyes were red. They wanted to break through the Huaxia Alliance and take over the entire Huaxia Alliance. Some of the female comrades were especially furious. What did they think they were? The Western Alliance hadn't even killed their way in yet, but they were already treated like goods? Damn it, give me your lives! The fat fatty roared. He wore the battle armor that Su Yan had given him. His body was as sturdy as an iron tower, and his essence blood flowed in all directions. He charged into the enemy army and roared with red eyes. He waved his long sword and killed in all directions. He was very brave. The title of Vajra Battle God was not for nothing. The fat fatty's battle strength was tyrannical, and with the battle armor that Su Yan had given him, he could do whatever he wanted on the battlefield. Even so, the fat fatty still felt an unprecedented pressure. After all, the Western Alliance had many experts. The number of Transcendence Realm cultivators surpassed the Huaxia Alliance by a large margin. What was even more cruel was that many Transcendent Realm cultivators could use Transcendence Realm strength. This was a nightmare for the Huaxia Alliance. This was the power that the Western Alliance had. They were confident that they could break through the Huaxia Alliance's defense line. As long as they could break through Divine Forest Island, it would be the same as opening the door to the Huaxia Alliance. They could then attack the Huaxia Alliance's territory. Brothers, kill them! Our Huaxia Alliance is not afraid of these foreigners. If you want to enter our Huaxia Alliance, you'll have to step over my dead body. Kill, tear these bastards apart, kill! The experts of the Huaxia Alliance who came to participate in the battle roared like crazy. Their families and families were all behind them. Once Divine Forest Island was broken through, their defense line would be destroyed. The consequences would be unimaginable. Boom! The entire sea region trembled, and the entire Divine Forest Island was dyed red with blood. The surrounding sea region was also filled with blood, and huge waves were surging on the surface of the sea. There was even an endless stream of soldiers from the Western Alliance rushing over. What was even more serious was that some battleships avoided Divine Forest Island and began to rush towards the coastal cities. They wanted to kill their way into the coastal cities first. You want to take down the Huaxia Alliance in one fell swoop? Dream on! Lei Lao was shocked and furious. Lightning flashed all over his body. There was no doubt that the Western Alliance had been planning this for a long time. Morlin was just an excuse. They had been planning to attack the Huaxia Alliance for a long time. Ha ha, you bunch of trash who protect criminals need to be purified by the holy fire. An expert from the Western Alliance laughed loudly. Black flames gushed out from all over his body, burning everything in all directions. He was like an erupting black volcano, and the flame energy he released was like purgatory. The soldiers screamed miserably as their bodies were burned into ashes. The battlefield was in complete chaos. It was as if a demon's lair had appeared. Black energy ripples covered the sky. This was the aura of the Western Alliance. It covered the might of the Huaxia Alliance's experts. The sky was filled with black energy ripples. All the auras of the Western Alliance's experts were about to combine to form a purgatory world. How is this possible? Hyunja's expression was very ugly. How could the Western Alliance have such powerful strength? Even someone as strong as him felt suffocated and trembling. Even Bai Menjing's expression changed. It was as if she had seen a group of demons from hell. Black clouds covered the sky in front of her. It was abnormally terrifying. When they pressed down, Bai Menjing's mouth was overflowing with blood as she staggered backwards. The top experts of the Huaxia Alliance were all pushed back. They were overwhelmed with shock. They couldn't resist at all. Even if war god Xia Zhe and the others returned, it would be difficult to resist the current Western Alliance. Moreover, there were still some famous experts from the Western Alliance who hadn't arrived yet. The huge divine forest island was rustling. Because of the war, the island's environment was severely damaged. More people died, and many corpses flew into the sea and drifted into the distance. What a thick stench of blood! In the distant sea, Su Yan and the Tai Baokai were approaching their destination. The Tai Baokai smelled the stench of blood. It bared its teeth and said, "Earth has been too peaceful these years. It's a good thing to experience this. The future of the universe will be many times crueler than now." Thinking back to the battle of the Big Dipper star region, Su Yan was silent. He didn't know how the Big Dipper star region was doing now. That kind of battle could easily cause great suffering. Millions of creatures died with grievances. Ancient planets with life would explode one after another. This kind of battle on Earth wasn't worth mentioning in the Big Dipper battlefield. However, this was the later progenitor, the last surviving ancient planet of the buried realm. They would have to endure this sooner or later. The battle on Divine Forest Island was extremely intense. The Huaxia Alliance was retreating step by step. One after another, Transcendence Realm experts died with grievances. It's just a futile struggle. I still lack some servants. I think you guys are just right. The Western Alliance became more and more courageous as they fought. They were like a group of war gods that walked out of the Dark Kingdom. Black energy surged in their bodies. The special energy stimulated their potential to explode. Pfft. Some Transcendence Realm experts exploded into a bloody mist. They couldn't withstand the terrifying aura that assaulted them. They're demons. Some people were scared out of their wit. How were they supposed to fight? The Western Alliance's foundation was too shocking. Every one of them possessed such great strength. They were like a group of black beasts charging over. They were about to force them into the sea. Roar! Lei Lao roared. He didn't want to be a sinner for all eternity. After all, he was the dean of Huaxia University. He had the highest authority in the Huaxia Alliance. I'll fight it out with you guys. Lei Lao's eyes were about to split open. His entire body was covered in lightning. His flesh shell surged with the profound essence of lightning. A giant thunder beast appeared behind him. Using the lawful embodiment of heaven and earth, its explosive divine might pushed back the darkness for a brief moment. You guys leave quickly. Let me cover you. Lei Lao erupted with his greatest potential in this desperate situation. He was like a furnace of lightning as he charged into the darkness. This was a suicidal move because the darkness was too vast. It was about to suppress the entire Divine Forest Island. Old Lei, come back. Where there's life, there's hope. The heavily injured Yuan Hong roared. His hair was disheveled as he went mad with anger. His eyes were red and blood was flowing out from the corners of his eyes. Lei Lao. Many people lost control and roared. Their blood was boiling. Lei Lao was putting his life on the line. With his lightning body, He could open up a corner of the battlefield and block the Western Alliance's cruel attack. Light burned in the darkness. Lei Lao used his domineering strength to tear open a corner of the darkness. The dense lightning struck a large number of Western Alliance cultivators to death. "Brats, your grandpa is here." Lei Lao's entire body burned. Tens of millions of lightning struck horizontally. Facing a peak transcendence realm expert, even the experts of the Western Alliance turned pale. They temporarily avoided the attack. "Hee, old thing, you dare to fight back? You really don't know your place." Rhodes shook his head in disdain. His figure rushed to Lei Lao's side. He raised his palm and fiercely struck. His palm was like a black sun that contained the power to destroy heaven and earth. It collapsed the lightning in the sky and fiercely attacked Lei Lao. Lei Lao! The experts of the Huaxia Alliance lost control and roared. However, they were powerless to change anything. Rhodes' power was too barbaric. They couldn't block it at all. Lei Lao was about to explode into a pool of blood under this attack. However, the outcome was different from what they imagined. Rhodes' power hit nothing. His face suddenly sank. He raised his head and saw that not far away, a young man had appeared. And Lei Lao had been taken away by him. Rhodes' eyes narrowed slightly as he stared at the young man. He seemed familiar. "It's you." Rhodes' expression suddenly changed. He recalled the war god Su Yen from 10 years ago. It's the war god Su Yen. The Huaxia Alliance that was retreating was in a perilous situation. Although they knew that the war god Su Yen had returned, when they saw him with their own eyes, they really believed that the war god Su Yen had returned. Even the Western Alliance was boiling. They couldn't forget what happened 10 years ago. The war god Su Yen that day was really terrifying. However, this expert who had disappeared for more than 10 years had returned. "He's the war god Su Yen." Hyanja stared at Su Yen for a while, and coldly snorted in his heart. He couldn't see how strong Su Yen was. Even the soldiers of the Huaxia Alliance were staring at Su Yen. It was the first time they saw the war god of the Huaxia Alliance in person. They were all excited. They especially wanted to know how strong the war god Su Yen was. "Hee, the war god Su Yen, I've heard a lot about you." Rhodes laughed sinisterly. "I didn't expect you to only come now. The war is almost over. Do you think you're the savior?" "No, he's the one who crippled Morlin." Suddenly, a Western Alliance expert shouted furiously, "So that's you, the war god Su Yen. You're a war god, but you're targeting a rising star of our alliance. You're too cruel." The Western Alliance experts who were gathered here couldn't stop laughing. They didn't expect this person to be the Su Yen who had disappeared for more than 10 years. Someone said fiercely, "The main character has appeared. Unfortunately, it's too late now. Since the Western Alliance has already attacked here, we won't retreat so easily. Unless you give us half of your territory, there's still room for negotiation." Wishful thinking. Su Yen stood with his hands behind his back. He stared coldly at them and shouted, "A bunch of fools who don't have much time left. You were sold and you're still counting the money. You're really pitiful. How dare you disrespect us even now? Go and kill him to avenge Morlin." Rhodes's face turned cold. Just as he finished speaking, a Western beauty with a pure and holy appearance wearing golden armor rushed out bravely. "In the name of God, I judge evil and purify evil." She directly brandished a sword embryo that was emitting holy light and slashed forward. The surging sword aura rushed forward and pierced towards Su Yan's chest with enough power to split mountains and break waves. Fool. Chapter 679. It was as if a cold wind had blown past, blowing away the thick smell of blood on Divine Forest Island. This was a bone-piercing chill that spread in all directions, attacking everyone's mind and causing their hairs to stand on end. What was that? They saw Su Yen pinch the sword embryo and even snap his fingers, causing the sword embryo to explode with a bang. This kind of destructive power left them dumbfounded. No matter what, the sword embryo was still a Dharma divine weapon. However, it was blown apart by Su Yan's snap of his fingers. This sent chills down their spines as they looked at Su Yan as if he was a monster. How is this possible? Hyanja shuddered and had goosebumps all over his body. He didn't even dare to imagine how perverse Su Yan's physical body was to be able to destroy a sword embryo with a snap of his fingers. He didn't even dare to imagine how wild and powerful Su Yan's physical body was. He felt that even if he became stronger than he imagined, he wouldn't be able to do it. Su Yan's strength had overturned Hyanja's thinking. Tang Zipping's face was also ashen. He was both happy and scared. It was fortunate that he had arrived at Base 9 in time. If the situation continued to develop, the Tang family might not even exist anymore. God of War Su Yan is too scary. He is indeed the #1 God of War of our Huaxia Alliance. All the cultivators of the Huaxia Alliance were shouting excitedly. Without a doubt, Su Yan's strength had shocked all the experts present. Even the people of the Western Alliance had their arrogance and pride crushed. This Western beauty was trembling. The man standing in front of her seemed to be infinitely tall and majestic. She was suffocating and trembling under the pressure. Even when she looked into Su Yan's deep eyes, she felt as if her soul didn't belong to her anymore. Plop! This Western beauty who was going to judge Su Yan fell to the ground and trembled as if she was worshipping a god. This scene caused an uproar. The experts of the Western Alliance looked as if they had eaten a pile of **T. It was extremely ugly. Bastard, you piece of trash, stand up. Rhodes was about to go mad with anger. The ferocious aura that he had just displayed was now completely gone because of her subordinates kneeling. Even Rhodes had lost a lot of face and he said uncontrollably, "Kill Su Yan for me and get rid of this evil. The Chinese alliance will belong to the entire Western Alliance." Swish, swish. After a brief moment of brilliance, the dozen or so experts of the Western Alliance, who were drowning in anger and humiliation, rushed over and unleashed their strongest power. They also took out a set of killing weapons and began to attack Su Yan. "Be careful." Bai Menjing's expression changed. Over a dozen peak experts had just arrived and they had already used their strongest source of strength. However, in the face of this situation, what exceeded everyone's expectations was that Su Yan rushed forward and smashed down with his fist. The arrogant battle god Su Yan is using his flesh and blood to resist. Has he gone mad? Many of the cultivators from the Western Alliance screamed. That was the combined attack of more than 10 top-notch experts. Moreover, they had brought out a set of great killing weapons. However, Su Yan simply smashed his fist forward. Boom! There was a loud explosion. Su Yan's fist was like the sun in the sky. The solar fist was unleashed by Su Yan, and a golden sun burned and rose in the blood-stained sea. The golden light was boundless and blazing. Boom! Su Yan let out a long roar. His eyes were like lightning, and his tyrannical fist aura exploded forth. It was ruthless and unstoppable. Boom! Heaven and earth trembled violently. It was as if thunder from the 9 heavens had exploded. The entire sky was filled with the sound of destruction. The great killing weapons could not withstand it and were shattered. The dozen or so peak masters were sent flying one after another like kites with broken strings. They were in incomparable pain during the process. The blood in their bodies was evaporated, and their source of life collapsed. They felt as if they were being suppressed by hundreds of thousands of volcanoes. Their source of life began to collapse. They let out terrified voices. "You demon!" These experts from the Western Alliance trembled. Because their cultivation had been crippled, under the solar fist, the entire sea was about to be evaporated by Su Yan's fist aura. That blazing fist aura and radiating energy caused the entire place to boil. The entire place was in an uproar. This fist aura could swallow rivers and mountains, and sweep away thousands of soldiers. The peerless might of the Huaxia Alliance had shocked many of the experts from the Western Alliance. They felt that this young man was too terrifying. That fist of his had crushed more than 10 peak masters, as if he was blowing away dust. Su Yan, you demon king. You actually used such cruel methods to deal with the experts of the Western Alliance. Rhodes was not afraid. With a gloomy face, he shouted, "What is the Eastern Punitive Expedition waiting for? The demon is right before your eyes. Destroy the filth of this world for me. Avenge Moralin, avenge him. Avenge, we must avenge him." The Eastern Punitive Expedition, whose morale had been greatly damaged, was filled with flames of anger after hearing Rhodes' words. These words caused the cultivators of the Huaxia Alliance to be extremely angry. The Western Alliance had formed an Eastern Punitive Expedition and killed so many soldiers of the Huaxia Alliance. They still had the face to call Su Yan a demon? Boom! For a moment, the entire Divine Forest Island trembled. The Western Alliance's Eastern Punitive Expedition had arrived. Their movements were exceptionally terrifying. The black tide appeared once again, surging and surging even more violently than before. Every cultivator of the Eastern Punitive Expedition erupted with the dark matter within their bodies. It was as if they had evolved into a limitless purgatory. Black radiance surged forth, causing the entire Divine Forest Island to be engulfed in darkness. Moreover, it was surging unceasingly, wanting to devour Su Yan. What kind of secret technique is this? Baokai was astonished. He muttered in his heart, "It seems to be a secret technique that stimulates the potential of the human body. It is obtained by burning one's life source. Such a rare secret technique is not something an ordinary power would possess. Could it be that they are in cahoots with experts from the outer realms?" Baokai felt that this was not very likely. With the current situation on Earth, experts from the outer realms would not be able to enter. Unless the Western Alliance had discovered some terrifying ruins and hidden some evil demonic trees. War God Su Yan, be careful. Many people cried out in alarm. Just a moment ago, Lei Lao had used his strongest strength to tear open a crack. But now, the darkness had arrived and rushed towards Su Yan, wanting to directly suppress him. Just how strong is Su Yan? Lei Lao was extremely exhausted. If not for Su Yan, he would have already fallen. But the Western Alliance's secret technique was too strange. Could Su Yan alone withstand such abnormal strength? Judge the sinner. Purify the evil. Judge your crimes on behalf of God. Kill. The faith of the Western Alliance's people was laughable in Su Yan's eyes. When the darkness pressed down, even as it was about to cover up Su Yan's might, his hair and clothes fluttered in the wind. Extremely stupid. It was as if thunder from the 9 heavens had exploded, piercing through the vast sea. Under the horrified gazes of everyone present, Su Yan exploded into the sky. His entire body was like a scorching sun as he revolved in the sky, releasing a monstrous golden light that burned the heavens and collapsed the earth. The universe exploded, and the beauty kneeling in front of him was directly shattered into pieces. The darkness was pierced through. That was the explosion of golden essence blood that filled the sky. It was like golden lightning that illuminated the night sky, causing the entire Divine Forest Island to tremble under his might. Many mountains collapsed on their own, creating huge cracks. Roar! The terrifying scene was like the roar of an ancient bull. A huge shadow appeared behind Su Yan. It was golden, resplendent, and surging violently. This was the golden iron bull Dharma idol. As it breathed in and out, the heavens and earth darkened. The huge Dharma idol supported the heavens and earth, and then exploded with a loud roar. The roar riddled the darkness with holes, and thick blood splashed out, dyeing the sky red. Under the starry sky, above the sea, corpses flew everywhere, and rivers of blood flowed. How savage and ferocious was that! With a single roar, the mountains and rivers were shattered, and the entire Divine Forest Island was on the verge of exploding. Even the various divine weapons that were charging towards Su Yen in the sky were all burned and exploded by the essence blood radiance that gushed out of Su Yan's pores when they were about to reach him. With Su Yan's physical body, even if his combat strength was suppressed, it would be difficult for even great Dao realm weapons to injure him. Damn it, this is too monstrous. Is this a god-fiend from the outer region? Lu Qingtian looked up at the sky full of corpses and fell into shock. He couldn't believe that this was Su Yan's current strength. Hianja was trembling. Back then, he had belittled Su Yan in the meeting hall. But now, it seemed that the reverence that Lei Lao and the others had for Su Yan was far from enough compared to Su Yan's current strength. He was much more terrifying than what Lei Lao and the others had imagined. The source of life that gushed out of Su Yan's body seemed even more ferocious than a true dragon. His roar scared the enemy out of their wits, and a large number of soldiers died. Ah! The darkness shattered. This was a true purgatory. That person stood between the heavens and earth like an invincible god of war under the starry sky. The Western Alliance cultivators who were struggling in pools of blood all felt despair in their hearts. Devil, he is a devil. Some women of the Western Alliance were so scared that they cried. Too many people had died, and it was difficult to count the number of casualties. Even some peak transcendence realm cultivators were vomiting blood and couldn't get up from the pool of blood in a short period of time. Just a single roar had caused so much destruction. This was something that they had never even dared to think about. They felt that attacking the Huaxiao Alliance was a stupid decision. With such a powerful battle god protecting the Huaxiao Alliance, they felt a deep sense of despair and helplessness. Even many cultivators who coveted the Huaxia Alliance's treasures and beauties were trembling. They felt that their thoughts were too stupid. With the number one god of war, Su Yan, there was no way the Western Alliance could take down the Huaxia Alliance. You devil, no, you are a devil. However, Rhodes wasn't afraid. His face was slightly pale, and he said in a ferocious voice, God of war Su Yan, you have been disgraced. You have a cruel nature and must die. What trump cards do you have? Just use them. Su Yan shouted angrily, you offended Huaxia and called me a devil. I think your heart has already been corroded by darkness. You are not far from death. Your sins can only be judged by the temple. Under the stunned gazes of the people around him, Rhodes suddenly knelt down and kowtowed sincerely. At the same time, he said in an incomparably sacred voice, I hope that the temple master will come to the world and purify the evil and ominous. Is this Motherf Ker crazy? Chapter 680. Many cultivators of the Huaxia Alliance were stunned. Their expressions were very strange. Rhodes was still the second war god of the Western Alliance. His heart shouldn't be corroded by faith. Some people even thought that the Western Alliance didn't really have a god, right? And what kind of existence was the temple he spoke of? Why didn't they know anything about it? Is there really a god in this world? Many people were at a loss, but Rhodes's actions did scare them. However, some people thought that it was a kind of evil technique. Perhaps he could really summon something. After all, it was hard to imagine what would happen next in the society of gods and devils. Then, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Many cultivators of the Western Alliance who were silent in despair and fear knelt on the ground in groups and shouted, I hope that the god will come to the world and purify the evil and ominous, eradicate the devil. This made Su Yan frown slightly. He faintly felt that the dark matter in these people's bodies began to boil and began to burn with black flames. The black matter in their bodies seemed to have a life of its own. Strands of it drilled out of their bodies. In the process, the source of life in their bodies was rapidly stripped away. Su Yan frowned even deeper. A trace of fear flashed in his heart. If he had come a little later, the consequences would have been unimaginable. The Huaxia Alliance would have definitely been destroyed. Boom! Suddenly, the entire divine forest island shook. Even the sky darkened. The starry sky followed the darkness and shrouded who knew how many miles. The sea beasts in the sea felt that the end of the world had come. The movement of this secret technique was surprisingly shocking. The black light covered the sun and swept thousands of miles. Even the coastal cities of the Huaxia Alliance saw what was happening here. Darkness once again shrouded the earth. The source of life in Rhodes and the others' bodies pierced through the sky. An abnormally gloomy aura spread out and gradually converged into a huge and blurry human face. It contained a terrifying airflow. Oh my God! Yuan Hong's scalp exploded. How could something like this happen? They felt that the sky was occupied by this huge human face. It was like a god had descended. The aura it emitted terrified them. They couldn't help but kneel down and worship it. This was an absolute suppression of energy. It wasn't that Yuan Hong and the others' beliefs weren't firm enough, but this kind of energy was really terrifying. After all, it was the energy gathered from the source of life in the Western Alliance's bodies. The god has really appeared. The cultivators of the Western Alliance were even more devout and respectful. They were like believers of the temple. Boundless fanaticism and madness. Su Yan, why aren't you kneeling down and accepting the punishment and judgment of the temple master? Rhodes. And Rhodes and God. Rhodes and Rhodes. Of Rhodes and Rhodes. Rhodes and Rhodes. Bullsh *T. Su Yan replied coldly. He stood towering between the heavens and the earth, while his long black hair hung loosely on his shoulders. He possessed a mighty and imposing bearing, and he emanated a domineering aura of supremacy. This was disrespecting the heavens and the earth, disrespecting the fiend god emperor, and only respecting himself. As soon as these words were spoken, the giant human face became angry. Its pupils that were comparable to mountains shot out a black light, and its entire face burned with black flames. If it really wanted to burn all the sins in the world. Is there really a god? The cultivators of the Huaxia Alliance were bewildered. They resisted the urge to worship. But this huge face made many people believe that maybe there really was a god in the Western Alliance. The god sends down the flames of anger to burn away all filth. The cultivators of the Western Alliance could feel the god's anger. They became even more devout. They knelt down and worshiped. There was no doubt about the existence of the god. Boom! Suddenly, Su Yan's whole body shone with divine light. He rushed forward in an instant and once again smashed his fist towards the huge face. The might of Su Yan's punch soared to the heavens as it smashed into the sky. A loud sound rang out and thousands of huge waves appeared on the surface of the sea, connecting into one. It was a magnificent and majestic sight. Moreover, Su Yan's fist surged into the sky and charged towards the huge human face. Boom! A deafening sound exploded. Under everyone's shocked gazes, the huge human face roared fiercely. It spewed out countless black lightning and charged towards the fist wind that Su Yan had blasted out. A huge collision erupted between the two and swept across the sea. Ant! The huge face was enraged. It was like a god looking down on divine Forest Island. It emitted an unparalleled power, causing the entire island to tremble uncontrollably. It was even possible that it could directly overturn the entire island. You dare to disrespect the god? You will be punished. Many cultivators of the Western Alliance hysterically rebuked Su Yan. They felt that this was a great offense. You dare to disrespect me? You will be punished. Su Yan was furious. He let out a long roar. His momentum swept through the sky and shattered the vast sky. His eyes were like lightning. His aura soared. A terrifying power gushed out from his body. With a raise of his hand, the void trembled. Many mountain rocks were destroyed uncontrollably. Su Yan was serious. He rushed into the sky like a young battle-divine king. His body released a dragon's roar that resounded through the heavens and earth. Kill! Su Yan's black hair danced in the wind. He instantly punched out. However, this fist aura pierced through the sky. One after another, true dragons were struck out by Su Yan. A total of 108 true dragons were released by Su Yan. What a magnificent and frightening scene! The spectators were all stunned. They trembled from the bottom of their hearts. They saw a total of 108 true dragons soar through the sky. They were driven by Su Yan's vigorous essence blood. They rushed into the sky and towards the huge face. This was a great collision. The iron-blooded fist aura tore through the darkness. It was as if it was going to tear open the heavens. It was a peerless collision. Is this a battle between gods? How can such a terrifying aura rush out? I seem to see true dragons soaring into the sky from Divine Forest Island. They broke through the darkness and began to fight. That's a person. He's too terrifying. Is this the reincarnation of an ancient expert? The sea beasts in the sea trembled. They frantically left this area because the entire sea was split apart. The energy ripples from the collision were magnificent and majestic. They were about to destroy this entire sea. A deity, many cultivators in the Western Alliance fell into despair. The deity they worshipped was riddled with holes by Su Yan's fist. It was as if they were witnessing the return of a god-slaying expert. The giant face was about to explode. Roar! The deity's face let out a loud roar. It was as if he was enraged. His entire face shrunk and turned into a large black killing seal. He began to charge towards Su Yan. You still dare to come? Su Yan's eyes were frighteningly sharp. The energy in his body surged. His divine might blazed. An aura that could incinerate the heavens and earth was released. It surged into the sky and burned down the clouds in all directions. Su Yan let out a loud roar. His hair was also disheveled. His eyes were like lightning. His moves were grand and majestic as he suppressed forward. This kind of posture and deterrence was quite savage. It was as if he wanted to suppress everything. He was filled with a peerless majesty. Even gods and devils would tremble at his feet. The sun and moon would lose their brilliance. Boom! Su Yan's fist collided with the black killing seal. Brilliant rays of light shot out and shattered the void. Everyone saw that Su Yan was incomparably powerful. His robust body was even more ferocious than a true dragon. With a single punch, the black killing seal was blasted apart. Even a heavenly deity would be crushed if he came, let alone a mere projection of a deity. You don't know the difference between life and death. Su Yan coldly replied. His entire body rippled with cold energy, crushing the fragments of the killing seal into pieces. His words caused the Eastern punitive army to howl in despair. The deity they worshipped was actually killed by Su Yan. Moreover, it was suppressed in such a tyrannical manner, causing them to sink into fear and despair. Even a deity would be destroyed. The might of the number one war god of the Huaxia alliance had caused them to lose all will to fight. War god Su Yan is too frightening. Even the deities of the Western Alliance were destroyed. Who can stop war god Su Yan? Could it be that Su Yan has killed a heavenly deity in the outer realms? He even killed a deity expert. Lei Lao and the others were in disbelief. From the moment Su Yan joined the battle until now, the commotion he caused was more and more shocking. They respected Su Yan's strength from the bottom of their hearts. He was truly worthy of being the number one war god of the Huaxia alliance. At the same time, Su Yan's strength had overturned their understanding of battle prowess. They all felt that there was still room for improvement in the law phase realm. The big fatty felt that he should study the scripture Su Yan had given him and transform as soon as possible. He wanted to charge into the strongest training ground and strive to increase his battle prowess. He is the true devil of the East. The Eastern punitive army had already been defeated. Many people were scared out of their wits and fled. Since you say I'm a devil, then so be it. Su Yan coldly snorted. An aura surged out from his body, so heavy that it caused the fleeing Western Alliance cultivators to tremble. He began a massacre, rushing into the midst of the fleeing Eastern punitive army. His eyes were filled with killing intent. What was blood? What was slaughter? The entire divine forest island was dyed red with blood. With a loud roar, corpse blood filled the sky. He waved his hand and slashed forward, causing the fleeing cultivators to cry out in pain. Flesh and blood flew everywhere. The killing intent soared into the heavens, and a terrifying aura surged. Su Yan had turned into a killing machine, sweeping through the battlefield. The Huaxia Alliance cultivators roared. Since they formed the Eastern Punitive Army, none of them can be allowed to escape. Kill them! Kill them! The Huaxia Alliance launched a fierce counterattack. At this moment, no one would be lenient. If not for Su Yan, the Huaxia Alliance's door would have been opened with blood. On that day, the entire Huaxia Alliance would have been plunged into a boundless calamity. Boom! The heavens and earth roared, and the sun and moon lost their light. Su Yan's aura grew stronger and stronger. He fiercely pulled out a golden bow. The moment he pulled it back, the sea trembled, and the heavens and earth darkened. This was a sea of divine energy being sucked dry. Is that a miracle?